Chapter 81. 10 People and 10 People in Kinmatsu. The pinnacle of mechanical puppets. A total of 10 puppets can use Kimen ninja tools, toxins, bombs and even chakra. The most amazing thing is that they can also use ninjutsu. But there are puppets made of machines that can use ninjutsu. Of the puppet master of Monziman is worthy of the name. However, the puppet master of Monziman not only refers to his peak puppet making skills, but also his skills of manipulating puppets to fight, also belongs to the master level. Of the 10 people of Kinmatsu is. During World War II, Menziman personally played it. At that time, Kazekage, the second generation of Sunagakur village, and Menziman jointly developed the puppet technique. With the full support of the Kingdom of Wind, they obtained a lot of money to make puppets and cultivate ninjas who manipulate puppets. Under this kind of development, the strength of Sunagakur village has expanded rapidly, and even led to wars everywhere. 3220. However, it was suppressed by Iwagakure village and Kumogakure village, and its strength was greatly damaged. It was at this time that there was a small ninja village who wanted to replace it and become one of the new 5 ninja villages, and immediately decided to take the opportunity to attack Sunagakur village. However, all this came to nothing after Menziman, who was at the peak of his youth, personally took action. That little shinobi village was almost destroyed by him alone. With the power of one person, a village was destroyed. That battle established the name of the puppet master of Monziman, and also forged the illustrious name of the 10 people of Kinmatsu. Nara Shikaku is the representative of the new generation of the Nara family, the Nara family. It has a long history and records a lot of historical information. He also learned a little about 10 people from Jinsong. 10 puppets, some use 2 large knives, some use hooks, scythes, and some use hair ties to bind and destroy the enemy with bombs. There are even those responsible for close combat and guarding the puppet master at close range. It can be said that there are 10 people in Jinmatsu, 10 people, integrating attack, defense, and containment, and it is simply a small army. One person can form an army, and it can be used on Monziman. Just as Nara Shikaku was thinking about a countermeasure, a hook and a scythe were quickly thrown from the left and right, cutting towards his head. This move was launched by the number 5 puppet and number 8 puppet, and it was called Lock Scythe. Shikaku continued to retreat, but the speed was not fast. He was immediately caught up by the Lock Scythe, and the hook lock and the sickle quickly closed. It seems that the next moment, his head will be chopped off. But it's not that simple. Shikaku is not a battle idiot. The 2 scythes stopped tremblingly when they were 10 centimeters away from his neck. The 2 shadows directly pulled the scythe, making it impossible for him to enter. Monziman was not surprised. After a few short fights with Shikaku, he knew that this young man was strong. As for the master of shadow secret art, he is not at all under the strong Nara of the older generation. And he's very smart. The fight starts, and he's backing up. The base was originally dark, and no shadows could be formed. But the boy who was trampled by Konoha before was hit by the sun, and there is a large area where shadows can be formed. A flick of a finger, the chakra silk thread controlled the number 7 puppet, wielding a pair of knives, and slashed it. Nara Shikaku didn't panic, and stretched out one hand. A palm made of shadows shook out, and then slapped it hard. Shadow palm pressure. A large number of black shadows instantly pressed the number 7 puppet to the ground. No matter how hard she struggled, she couldn't get out. Monziman smiled slightly. You are very strong, especially for the master of shadow secret art. However, I have 10 puppets, and only 3 puppets came out, so you should do your best. Then what about next? Quote. Nara Shikaku frowned, carefully preparing for the next attack. Puppet acting is explosive. Gong Yi watched the battle over there from the corner of his eye, and was amazed. The battle of the original puppet technique is so beautiful, just like art, which makes people fascinated. Puppet master only needs to stand still and control the puppet, and then he can play the enemy with applause. This feeling of being in control how wonderful it would be to think about it. And it's just manipulating a puppet, so how about making a powerful puppet by yourself? No wonder Sasori of the Red Sand is so fascinated by the art of puppets, not to mention whether there is eternal beauty, just it's enough to make something like a robot, and it's enough to give people a sense of accomplishment. Gong Yi swings his sword, ready to kill the resisting ninja in front of him, but only hears, clang. With a bang, the enemy didn't die. When Mars shot in all directions, Gong Yi suddenly realized. It turned out to be a puppet, and the manipulator was standing proudly behind, directing the puppet to fight against him. Gong Yi grinned, if you don't have the marvelous manipulation skills like Monziman, then you can die. The words fell, Gong Yi slapped the puppet with the back of his sword and went straight to the puppet master. Puppet master was a little anxious, and wanted to summon the puppet back to defend, but with his manipulation skills, the puppet just turned around and was stiff and motionless. He was already dead, blood was spilled from his head, his eyes widened, and he fell to the ground unwillingly. The battle continued, and time seemed to be slow, but 7 minutes had passed as the ninjas fell one by one. The low-level ninjas of Sunagakur began to be afraid. The boy was like a ghost, holding a long sword. Wherever he went, someone fell. Puppet ninja is a little bit better. If you are lucky, you can use a hard mechanical puppet to resist one or two, but that's all. There are even people who are shaking and shouting, Deep Blue Devil. This name is gone. In this dark place, Gong Yi's actions do have the taste of demons. Gong Yi, however, was a little dissatisfied. It had been delayed for too long, and reinforcements from the enemy might have arrived. He put away the long sword, focused slightly, and then. Men opened. One step out, the air shook the ground. Gong Yi in the fifth door state, only felt a powerful feeling, spontaneously born. Get rid of you quickly. The words fell, he instantly disappeared in place. Bang! With one kick, a ninja's body shattered into a cloud of blood. Gong Yi still felt that it was not enough, and slapped the ground with one palm. Doden Earth Style Crack 1. 6. The earth turned palms. The huge gap cracked from the ground, and the 7 ninjas who gathered together to resist, caught off guard, and fell directly into it. The gap's close, and people disappear. After a minute, all low-level ninjas are all solved. At the same time, Uchiha Chinfang shouted loudly. Kaden Fire Style Dragon Flame Release Song Jutsu. The elite Jonin, who was still resisting in front of him, was buried in a sea of intense fire. Glancing at the panting Uchiha Chinfang, Gong Yi pointed to Hyuga Shenming over there. You help him, I'll help Captain Shikaku, solve it quickly. Little devil, who do you think you are? Why should I listen to you? Gong Yi doesn't ignore him, and has already rushed behind Monziman, with the Rasengan in his hand accumulating. Boom! With a palm shot, Gong Yi's expression changed slightly, and he quickly pulled back. Chapter 82, 3 Jewels Suction Crushing. Open black lens bracket 17th more close black lens bracket. A Tauren puppet fell to the ground, with a spiral wound on his back. Monziman looked at Gong Yi with some fear, and summoned the number 2 puppet he had sent back. Young man of Konoha, you are strong. Gong Yi looked at him warily. Just now he wanted to sneak attack to kill the old man, but was blocked by a puppet, and the other party even had time to send another puppet to counter him. Click, click. The sound of mechanical twisting came, and the Tauren puppet, who had been beaten down by Gong Yi Rasengan before, stood up as if nothing had happened. Gong Yi's pupils shrank slightly, and the defensive ability of 10 people and 10 people in Jinsong was astonishing. Rasengan is an advanced ninjutsu that relies on huge tearing power, and few people can stop it. And this puppet, who was wounded frontally, was actually fine. Of course I am very strong, and the corpses on the ground are the best proof of my strength. Gong Yi said lightly, his eyes fell to Nara Shikaku's side. In all fairness, Nara Shikaku is not weak, at least at the level of the elite Jonin, especially he is very smart, and he can use a variety of ninjutsu and shadow magic during the battle. But the opponent is a Monziman who is no longer in his prime, and even aged as if he will die at any time. Shikaku was pressed 29 times. If Gong Yi didn't sneak attack on the other party, Nara Shikaku, maybe he couldn't hold it anymore. Monziman's eyes swept over those corpses, and the color of sadness couldn't help but come up. The ninjas here are all his descendants, and even some puppet ninjas have been instructed by him. However, before the war began, they died in this dark stronghold. When he looked at another battlefield, he couldn't help shaking his head. Those 7 Jonin besieged Hyuga Shenming, but the upper hand in the battle, but every time when he was ready to kill, Hyuga Shenming used the famous absolute defense of the Hyuga clan, Revolving Heaven. That's it, dragging them so that they can't go support others. Now that Uchiha Chikaz joins in, he will soon be at a disadvantage. After all, this is the alliance of the two powerhouses, the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan. Monziman sighed, Konoha has geniuses from generation to generation. How unfortunate it is for me, Sunagakur, to be next to you. Gong Yi said lightly, you Sunagakur also have geniuses, don't you? But the number is small. What a treacherous kid. It turned out that when he was talking about normal, Gong Yi launched an attack quickly. Monziman's face changed suddenly, and he hurriedly summoned the ox-headed puppet to stand in front of him. Gong Yi didn't seem to remember the previous failure, and still slapped the puppet with his palm. Monziman was about to say something, but his body felt as if his internal organs were being stirred, and it began to shatter. His face was flushed. Yuhi, he couldn't help opening his mouth, spitting out blood and even half an intestine in it. Gong Yi stepped back to avoid the old guy's dying counterattack. Receiving such a blow, the puppets of Monziman who suppressed Nara Shikaku were no longer controlled, and returned directly to his side, keeping him firmly in the middle. The liberated Nara Shikaku looked at Gong Yi in amazement, not understanding how he did it just now. On the other side, Uchiha Chikaz, who had finished defeating the enemy, came over. As for Hyuga's name, he was seriously injured as early as when he was 7 endures. Now that the enemy has been dealt with, he is sitting on the ground unsupported, as if he has no more breath left. Uchiha Chinfeng looked at Gong Yi in confusion. How did he do it? No comment. Gong Yi didn't even look at him, but stubbornly said, Zeman, I think if there is anything to say, I'd better kill this old guy and talk about it after leaving here. Nara Shikaku's face changed slightly. Kill him. A large number of ninjas are approaching here, and the distance is not far away. Gong Yi drew out his long sword. This old guy has too many tricks, and his puppet's protection ability is very strong. Uchiha Chikaz, you use demonic illusion to confuse his mind. Captain Shikaku, you use shadow magic to control his body. I will attack from the front. Little devil, why should I listen to you? Uchiha Chinfeng is still very dissatisfied with Gong Yi ordering him to do things before. Shikaku gave a death order. Listen to Gong Yi, or go back and let the Orochimaru-sama accuse you of disrespecting the order. Uchiha Chikaz had a gloomy face, but had to listen to Nara Shikaku's words. 3 Tomo Sharingan unfolds again. The evil intentions are annoying, but also fascinating. However, before he could cast demonic illusion, Monziman over there laughed sadly. Hundreds of ninjas all died in battle, and I can't blame me. Anyway, it's enough to live. Let you go to hell with me today. 3 Jewels Suction Crushing, who had been guarding Monziman all the time, stood up abruptly, and then started hand seal with their hands dazzled. The speed of the hand seal is even faster than that of Jonin. What a joke, this is a mechanical puppet, not a human. After the seal was finished, the three puppets suddenly opened their mouths and stuck out their tongues. Gong Yi has good eyesight and can directly see the words written on his tongue. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. At this moment, Gong Yi just wanted to scold him. God is his. This is not the general principle of Buddhism. Take refuge in the 3 jewels. A tornado rises from the ground. The violent suction makes it difficult to stand firm. Feel the terrifying pulling force inside. Once sucked in, the body will collapse instantly. Uchiha Chinfang's face changed greatly, and he ran away without saying a word. This old guy worked so hard, such a huge chakra completely drained all the energy of his body. Using this technique, the old guy will definitely die. The mission has been completed. There is no need for him to stay here to fight. Gong Yi was also about to run, but when he saw that Nara Shikaku, who had consumed a lot of chakra and could no longer hold on, was sucked by the tornado step by step, he stopped. A little hesitation, Gong Yi instantly opened the sixth door. Light blue energy covered him, and at this moment, he was unprecedentedly powerful. Taking 2 steps forward, in the eye of the wind, he grabbed Nara Shikaku, and then yanked it out. Gong Yi, Hyuga Shenming, he is still inside. It's too late. Monziman has run out of chakra, his ninjutsu is completely out of control, and everything in the stronghold will be destroyed. I can only save one person at 320 now. Nara Shikaku bit Kiba, go. Looking at the 2 people who jumped into the sky and disappeared from sight, Hyuga gave a bleak smile. He doesn't blame Nara Shikaku, nor does he blame Gong Yi. He only blamed himself for being from the Hyuga branch, not main clan. Perhaps, this is the fate that my family will never be able to get rid of. I live to protect main clan, fight to protect main clan, and even die for main clan's glory and status in the village. Hyuga, in my next life, I will never join the Hyuga family. By the time Chio and Rasa arrived with dozens of Jonin, the stronghold had been completely destroyed in a tornado. Endless yellow sand poured into the cave and covered it. And behind them, there are 2,000 Sunagakur pioneers. Chio looked ashen looking at the distant dots. Miru Tianlin, Jinchuriki column, bring 20 Jonins, go and kill them for me die. Yes, Chio-sama. The called ninja bowed his head and waved his hand. 20 Jonin followed him, chasing after Gong Yi along the route they had escaped. Chio stared blankly at the quicksand that kept slipping under his feet. Emin, was it my fault for pulling you into this war? Advisor Chio, perhaps Monziman-sama, isn't dead yet. Young man beside him laughed and spread his hands. The majestic chakra swept the world, and countless yellow sand rolled out of the cave. As far as the eye can see, 10 white-robed puppets of different shapes lie quietly in the cave. Chapter 83, Crazy Brush Favorability, 18th more. Ahem, Gong Yi, let's go. I'm really tired. The desert, Nara Shikaku put his hands on his legs, hunched over his waist, and kept breathing heavily. Gong Yi braked abruptly and turned his head to look at him, while hundreds of meters away, thick smoke billowed, and dozens of terrifying chakras shot up into the sky. Yuck. Nara Shikaku coughed and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Blood was black, apparently poisoned. The old guy is really hard to deal with. Puppet technique is already so strong, and he even secretly poisoned him. Now my chakra is exhausted, my body is poisoned, and my stamina is lost. Running with you again will only hurt you. Gong Yi was silent for a moment, then grabbed Nara Shikaku decisively and carried him directly behind him. With the body shape of a teenager, back, an adult man, no matter how you look at it, it looks like a villain's back, a big mountain. However, Gong Yi didn't notice at all. The 6 doors opened at the same time, and the speed did not decrease at all. The 8 inner gates can last another 10 minutes, enough to run into the first line of defense laid up by Konoha. At that time, if someone blocks a little, they will be safe. As for why he took the risk, saving Nara Shikaku at the risk, Gong Yi has also carefully considered. Throughout the history of Hokage, there has never been a shortage of wise men and strategists around the strong. The same goes for Nara Shikaku's future. Not only was he at the top of Konoha, he gave advice to the 4th, 3rd, 5th, and even 6th generations of Hokage, but he also became one of the main leaders of the coalition headquarters during the 4th World War. Even the rival ninja Raikage affirmed his talent and made him the commander-in-chief of the temporary coalition. It is such a pity that such a person died in this uninhabited desert. Save him by yourself, even if you can't take him as a subordinate, you can let him accept a life-saving grace. If the village does anything unfavorable to Gongyi in the future, with Nara Shikaku's character, he will definitely not sit idly by. Distinguishing the stakes, Gongyi resolutely ran away with Shikaku behind his back. The weak Nara Shikaku didn't know Gongyi's psychology and activities, he only knew that Uchiha Chinfeng directly left him as the captain and fled. And Gongyi, the young boy, never gave up on him. When the chasing troops are approaching, they must also carry him out of this desert. Shikaku-sensei, hold me tight. Gongyi said calmly, and his speed was a little faster. Enemies ahead. The difficulty level of this mission is high, and it is not only the number of enemies. Main thing is that the base of Monziman and the others is in the second half of the front line of Sunagakure village. It can be said that Gongyi and the others are deep in the rear, raiding thousands of miles. All smooth sailing, but if it is discovered, it will be chased and intercepted by Sunagakure's army. 1, 2, 2, 3. 3 enemies. Gongyi squinted and rushed over without dodging. Of running at high speed, before the enemy closes, he forcibly rammed through an enemy. PFF'd. The blood burst, like bright Yuhi-colored flowers, blooming in the desert. Nara Shikaku licked the blood on his lips, and his heart became more and more nervous. Bastard, what are you all doing, why haven't you stopped? Exclamation mark quote. Jinchuriki column irritated the ninja beside him and said tremblingly, we have done our best to mobilize the nearby squads to besiege them. But that man, like the human-shaped tailed beast, is simply unreasonable, and he just bumped into it when he met. Jinchuriki column took a deep breath, and he saw the corpse on the ground all the way. Can be said that there is not a whole corpse, but it was actually torn apart by the young man alive. I don't care whether he is a human-tailed beast or not, Lord Chiyo has issued an order to kill them. But if you go further, you will cross Tianchuanyuan, the land of rivers, and enter the border of the land of fire. According to the information we got back from the ninja, Konoha has built a defense line there. Bastard, don't kill the two of them, after returning, who will bear the wrath of Lord Chiyo? Follow me. Amankawahara, the territory of the river country. Because at the same time adjacent to the country of wind and the country of fire, here, since ancient times, has been one of the battlefields where the great powers clash. Gongyi glanced back at Tianchuanyuan behind him, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Master Shikaku, now we have entered the first line of defense in Konoha. No sound on his back, Gongyi turned his head to look. Nara Shikaku had fallen into a coma. Gongyi bit Kiba and couldn't wait any longer. He must hurry back to the base camp and use the antidote there to treat Shikaku. Without hesitation, Gongyi walked into the jungle, and when the Konoha ninja appeared, he simply left a few messages. Watch out, there's a lot of Sunagakure behind, don't let it go, they're breaking in. The ninjas who appeared and asked looked at each other, and when they saw Gongyi's bloody and terrifying appearance, he couldn't help shuddering. But they also know Gongyi, especially Nara Shikaku on Gongyi's back. Gongyi left, a few ninjas pondered for a while and released a flare. Mass enemy invasion. The Konoha ninja received news of the enemy invasion almost instantly. Along with him, Jonin Gongyi, Nara Shikaku returned with a serious back injury. Therefore, along the way, from the first line of defense, to the second line of defense, to the third line of defense, Gongyi was not blocked by the previous inquiries. But that doesn't mean no one saw him. Especially the blood-drenched, suffocating look on his face made many ninjas who saw this scene shocked. Where did this come from? It was so tragic that even Shikaku-sama was seriously injured, and I don't know if he was alive or dead. In fact, after Gongyi stepped into the first line of defense, the 8 inner gates status had dissipated. The following journey is entirely based on his strong body and tenacious will. When he returned to base camp exhausted, there were already many ninjas waiting for him. Nara family came up first, but before they could care about their own Nara Shikaku, they were pushed away by the medical ninja. Why are you standing here and want you Shikaku-sama to die? The Nara tribe dispersed their worries and watched as the medical ninja walked to Gong Yi's face. Before, they wanted to pick up Nara Shikaku. Eri Sakurai is the head of the medical team sent by Konoha this time, although she is only a chunin, but there are not many senior medical ninjas in the village now. Gong Yi, Shikaku-sama caught it's too tight, I can't break his hand. Gong Yi took a deep breath and opened one by one Shikaku's fingers on his shoulders. Please, Shikaku-sensei is seriously injured and poisoned. You take the antidote to him first, and then treat him. When Nara Shikaku was carried in, the ninja at the scene saw Gong Yi's expression changed. This young man come from? He was covered in blood and gasping for breath, as if he was reaching his limit. Trace of admiration came spontaneously. Especially the Nara clan, they just saw how Shikaku-sama, who had recovered from his own family, was holding on to Gong Yi. Didn't let go even when I was in a coma. What a trust. Captain Gong Yi, thank you so much. Captain Gong Yi, are you alright? Lord Gong Yi, the kindness of Lord Shikaku in saving us will never be forgotten by the Nara family. Gong Yi rested for a while, then recovered a little. Secretly, he has begun to use healing techniques to repair some of his internal injuries. Trauma, he didn't move very much, these can be said to be proof of merits in the battlefield. He stood up and shook his head. It's hard to say whether Shikaku-sensei will survive. I can also medical ninjutsu, so let me show him. Watching Gong Yi walk towards the medical ninja army camp, everyone present looked at his back with respect. Gong Yi can certainly feel the respect of these people, but he just thinks it is worth it even if he doesn't consider Nara Shikaku's attitude towards him in the future. The favorability of the Konoha ninja. This is the so-called reputation. This is the so-called reputation. From this moment on, no one will ignore him. Philo reminds you. And LT, please keep this paragraph for collection, otherwise it will be banned. Collect IP, and GT. Chapter 84. Powerful Medical Ninja. Open black lens bracket. The 19th more close black lens bracket. Entering the medical camp, Gong Yi greeted the others. Most of the ninjas here, he knows. After all, 99% of Konoha's medical ninjas come from Konoha Hospital. Gong Yi stayed there for 7 or 8 months, coming and going, and they were all familiar with each other. Gong Yi, why are you here? By the way, I forgot, you came back with Shikaku-sama, and you were injured too. Come on, let me show you. Sakurai Eri pulled Gong Yi worriedly, and wanted to check his body, but when he saw the blood all over his body, his heart couldn't help trembling. I was so careless just now that I forgot about Gong Yi. Gong Yi smiled and squeezed her hand. Sister Hilly, I'm fine. You forgot, I'm Tsunade-sensei's disciple, and I have mastered a lot of medical ninjutsu. Wei Li suddenly realized that, it is no wonder that he subconsciously didn't worry about Gong Yi just now. This is Tsunade-sama's proud disciple, and when it comes to medical ninjutsu, he may be even more powerful than them. How about Shikaku-sensei? Gong Yi pointed at Shikaku, who was unconscious. Wei Li frowned and said, his injury is very complicated, he has been poisoned, there is not much chakra left in his body, and his meridians are disordered. And 320 is not the point, look at Shikaku-sama's back. Gong Yi leaned forward and was shocked by what he saw. Nara Shikaku's entire back was blurred with blood, and he couldn't find a good piece of meat, even some bones were leaking out. Bai Sheng, bloody, so not scary. Gong Yi suddenly remembered that Shikaku had been sucked in by 3 joules suction crushing released by Monziman, and he pulled him out without noticing his back. When fleeing, he was carried on his back, and he didn't even notice. No wonder Shikaku went to the back and fell into a coma. With such a serious injury, if I were an ordinary person, I would have cried out in pain long ago. We have given him an antidote with the characteristics of Lord Tsunade, and we have used hemostasis for emergency treatment. Yi said quickly, and at the same time instructing others, began to use medical ninjutsu to treat Nara Shikaku's trauma. Gong Yi watched for a while, then frowned and said, "The healing technique doesn't seem to work." "What's the matter?" Anxiously, "Sir Shikaku's wounds are too large, and our master's healing technique can't cure quickly, and the situation is still worsening." Gong Yi thought about it and stood up. "Let me come." "You, sister, you also said that I am the proud disciple of Master Tsunade, and my medical ninjutsu has been passed down." Sakurai Ariyi was stunned for a moment, then she bit her teeth lightly, causing everyone to back away. Gong Yi walked to Shikaku's side, stretched out his palm. The chakra was like a small fish, nimbly swimming in his hand. Hands pressed down lightly, covering Shikaku's back. Yin-Ying's light lit up, and soon, the wound opened, and some fresh flesh even appeared. Hi. This is sage art. Captain Gong Yi, he actually mastered advanced medical ninjutsu, jutsu. Exclamations from the side, and the medical ninja's onlookers were also surprised. Eri looked at Gong Yi, who was serious and focused without blinking. She remembered what Tsunade had said to her when she was on the battlefield. If you encounter serious and intractable wounded on the battlefield, you can try to find Gong Yi. She didn't understand it at the time, but now that she thinks about it, Gong Yi's medical ninjutsu is so brilliant. Sage art. It can activate all wound cells and stimulate its own healing and recovery ability within 5 minutes. Heal a wound that is usually difficult to heal. This ninjutsu is said to be very difficult even for Tsunade-sama. Unexpectedly, Gong Yi is already a master, and it seems that he is still very proficient at using it. Gong Yi is unaware of the eyes and words of surprise, or worship, just focus on Shikaku. The injured area of Nara Shikaku is too large, and there is no good meat to be found on the entire back. Even with sage art, it cannot be cured all at once. The past 6 months, under the guidance of Tsunade, medical ninjutsu has grown enough. In the original book, Sakura was taught by Tsunade for 3 years before growing into a medical ninja who surprised even Chio. Gong Yi's chakra control ability is stronger than Sakura. When he studied basic theories, with his strong comprehension and memory ability, he was even more like a duck to water. For more than half a year, he has been regarded as a qualified and even brilliant medical ninja. Sage art is one of his master's many medical ninjutsu. 5 minutes later, the wound on the neck was completely healed. Gong Yi no. Stop, continue to use the palm sage art, towards the chest and back, for treatment. Medical ninjutsu does not seem to require a hand seal. But in fact, it is much more difficult than ordinary ninjutsu. It is in the hand seal state all the time, guiding chakra to stimulate cell activity. So people will see that when medical ninjas treat patients, their hands are often motionless, and it takes a long time to relax. 5 minutes passed and a wound was healed. Another 5 minutes passed. Ariyi looked at Gong Yi nervously, saw the sweat dripping from his face, and quickly took out his personal handkerchief and wiped his sweat. Gong Yi, why don't you take a break? Using palm sage art so often, your chakra won't be able to take it. Gong Yi turned his head and smiled reluctantly. I can still hold on, I can't stop now. The wounded area is too large, and once it stops, the wound that is not healed will spread and contaminate other cells that have begun to recover. Ariki-san, ask someone to prepare clean water for Shikaku-sensei. Congestion from the body will affect the wound. Outside the medical camp, the ninjas who stayed behind were all staring curiously inside. Someone came out with the water basin from which the wounded had been washed. Bloody water, and the Nara clan hurried over and asked the situation in a low voice. When they heard that there was no cure, they all looked desperate. However, when they heard that Gong Yi personally took action, and even released the palm of sage art, one by one became excited again. Later, When I heard that Gongyi was not Gu chakra wasted and tried his best to heal Nara Shikaku, everyone was silent. Sir Shikaku won't come back without Gongyi. Without Gongyi, Lord Shikaku is just a corpse now. This kind of kindness, our Nara family, will definitely repay in the future. And the other ninjas were all delighted when they heard that Gongyi had superb medical ninjutsu. Why did Tsunade have such a great reputation in the village, and why did the villagers not have any dissatisfaction even though she did not show up for many years when she later took over the Hokage for the 5th generation? Here's the reason. A superb medical ninja is the guarantee that all ninjas fight with all their might on the battlefield. Let go and fight, as long as I don't die on the spot. After I go back, someone will heal me. Please download the latest chapter of Filu Shoukan Baidu Search 99 Playmate Find 99 Novel Network this paragraph, otherwise block the collection of IP, and GT. Chapter 85, Super Long-Term Tasks 20 more. Night is gradually shrouded, the starry sky is low, and there is a faint tremor in the distant forest. Gongyi walked out of the medical camp tired, and the applause suddenly broke out. Gongyi was stunned for a while, then looked at the backup ninjas surrounding the outside, and suddenly realized. He waved his hand, let's all go away. In addition, don't applaud, if the location of the base camp is exposed, Lord Orochimaru will deal with it by military law. When Gongyi said this, everyone left in embarrassment. And today, they couldn't wait to tell other ninjas who didn't stay in the camp. On the battlefield, many people die every day, but many heroes are born. As long as it is a heroic deed that can improve morale, under the promotion of people with a heart, and in the ninja's personal recitation, it will soon spread to the army. Gongyi went back to his tent, didn't even take a shower, and fell asleep. He was really exhausted. He didn't wake up suddenly until midnight. It's been a long time since it's been like this. Gongyi stretched his back. Usually, he practiced magic at night, and he was still in good spirits the next day. A long-lost sleep seems to work better. Gongyi has come to realize that even if he is in a desperate practice, even if he looks good, he will still feel bored in his heart. Of sleep can actually play a regulating role. He planned to go out to see the situation. In the afternoon, the situation was a little strange. Stands to reason that both himself and Shikaku are back, and Shikaku is still seriously injured. Why should Orochimaru come to condolences, or ask about the mission? Orochimaru didn't show up until nightfall. Gongyi guessed that maybe something went wrong. However, when he was about to leave the tent, his footsteps suddenly stopped. Deep in my mind, on the panel of the Shuiba system, a bloody Yuhi, colored icon flickered like breathing. Mission. When did it start? Gongyi clicked the blood Yuhi quest icon in surprise, and quickly took the quest situation to heart. Mission. Survive the 3 wars. Mission description. Survive the 3rd Ninja World War. Overall progress. 7 inches. Branch missions. Completed defeating the Sunagaku arsenal behind enemy lines, completed the treatment of Nara Shikaku, and became the leader of the Konoha Medical Corps. Evaluation. The task is not over, no evaluation. Reward. It depends on the evaluation. The minimum reward is 10,000 points and a low-level scholar skill. Gongyi raised his brows, slightly interested. There are very few tasks that the Shuiba system actively publishes. There will be corresponding tasks in the 3 wars, and he also expects it. But this quest, so detailed, and even branching quests, evaluate these extra things, which makes Gongyi interesting. Rewards seem to be very generous, with a minimum of 10,000 learning master points and a low-level learning master skill. You know, to upgrade from the 1st level academic rank to the 2nd level, only 100 points of academic superiority are needed. From the 2nd level to the 3rd level, you need 10,000 points of learning hegemony, which can be said to be 100 times 100. If you calculate according to this rule, imagine how to upgrade the later rank. If you can survive the 3 battles, then you will be able to get the 3rd level up. No, such a big task. the reward is too insignificant. Gang Yi put his attention on the 555 small characters, depending on the evaluation. He guessed that the completion of this task, or survival, was as simple as that. Surviving is the bare minimum. Famous and famous in the 3 wars, what kind of evaluation will I get and what kind of rewards will I get? If I can become a pivotal figure in the 3 wars, how will the evaluation be rewarded and how if I can end it by myself? Gang Yi gradually narrowed his eyes, this task really moved his heart. Regarding the task, Gang Yi put it into his mind and was not impatient. He analyzed it again, this is a long-term task and cannot be accomplished overnight. Instead of thinking too much, it is better to start with small tasks one by one. For example, becoming the leader of the Konoha medical unit. After leaving the camp, Gang Yi found a stream and washed briefly. After the heavy bloody air was washed off, it lightened a lot. As for the trauma on his body, he also used the healing technique to restore it. Now he is full of energy and physical strength, and chakra has recovered as before. On the way back to the camp, Gang Yi suddenly moved. System, can the healing technique be renamed? Please change the name of the host. Well, let's call it Rejuvenation. The name change has been completed. The host's current master's skills are as follows: the intermediate skill Rejuvenation, the low-level skill Gravity, and the growth skill Refinement. Gang Yi nodded his head in satisfaction. In this way, he could avoid the same name as the medical ninjutsu healing technique that he used every day. The name of Rejuvenation is simple and easy to remember, and it can also well summarize the effect of the skill. Rejuvenation and Rejuvenation, after using it, everything is back to normal, like spring, full of vitality. Now that the system has listed his master's mastery skills, Gang Yi simply clicked on the panel to check his current situation. Age: 9 years old, ninja. Jonin constitution, 68 points mental strength, 68 points chakra. Basic attributes: wind, thunder, water, fire, earth. The strongest attribute: earth weapon, kunai, shuriken, detonating talisman, precious long sword. Unnamed scholar value: 80 scholar points can be exchanged for scholar skills, or upgrade to scholar rank. Scholar rank. Level 2 can have a maximum of 555 scholar skills, and support 2 or more research topics to carry out scholar skills at the same time. Intermediate Rejuvenation technique, low-level Gravity technique, growable skills, the current research topic of Spirit Refinement. 3.3s, master the 8 inner gates. Developed and mastered 2 ninjutsu Rasengans with complete chakra form changes. Kekkei Genkei. Completed research topics. 9 nines. Carrot. Half of the chakra required for lower level ninjutsu heart decapitation. Lower rock Jinchuriki column gun. Half of the chakra required for ninjutsu. Self-created defense ninjutsu rock armor analysis. The 8 inner gates 100 mission. Fight the immortal Shaoqiang mission was completed. The Land of Rain mission was brought back to Konoha to complete, and the 3 battles were not completed. After reading the panel, Gang Yi rubbed his face, feeling a little distressed. It's getting harder and harder to obtain the mastery value. This thing must be obtained through project research and task completion. And now the subject research that I am involved in, each of which is of a high level, requires a lot of time to accumulate experimentally. Tasks. The system has released less, and the difficulty is very high. Gang Yi shook his head. Time. After all, it's still a little tight. If you give me some more time, maybe I can study the second chakra form changing skills in the village, or study Kekkei Genkei and sealing techniques. Already. Master of medical ninjutsu very well, and he can carry out various experiments on Kekkei Genkei. For example, try to analyze the characteristics of the heart cells, or dissect them to find the key points. Forget it, I don't want to do this for the time being. Let's do the things in front of you first. Gang Yi still knows the priorities of things, and he is very clear about what to do now. Back at the camp, Gang Yi suddenly felt that the atmosphere was completely different. Some ninjas with blood on their bodies kept coming back, and every ninja in the past had a solemn expression. Just as he was watching, A medical ninja saw him and his eyes lit up. Gong Yi, come and help, we don't have enough people. What's wrong? Too many wounded. After you came back yesterday afternoon, the first line of defense was attacked frantically by the enemy. There is nothing to say, the 20th watch shows everything. Then the state of the 5th watch will resume tomorrow, but it may be added suddenly at any time, because I don't know how many words will be written in the state explosion watch. Chapter 86. Angry Sunagakure Village Open Black Lens Bracket Chapter 1 Close Black Lens Bracket. Gong Yi was a little surprised. The two sides had not even passed the contact phase. Did Sunagakure start attacking directly? He did not refuse, and entered the tent with the medical ninja. Standing outside, because there are ninjas who continue to release the Otogakure technique, I still don't feel it. As soon as I enter the tent, the large space is full of the pain and screams of injured ninjas. Seeing Gong Yi coming in, Ariyi Sakurai, who was busy, was overjoyed. Gong Yi, come here, here is a seriously injured ninja who needs immediate medical attention. Gong Yi hurried over and saw the wounded man and couldn't help but smile. Coincidentally, old acquaintance, Miura Mingyuan. Gong Yi once met him when he was performing a high-level mission. It's just that Miura's current state is really not that good. A hand hangs limply on the plank, and the bones are broken. On the body, there is a shuriken inserted in all directions, that is to say, he is not injured to the point. Only then can he be brought back to treat. 3220. Check the status for a while. Gong Yi do not hesitate. He put his hand on him, and with a slight flick, a shuriken was dislodged. Then hemostasis, to stop the continuous flow of blood, too much blood loss, most likely to cause death. Move your hands quickly and repeat this action. 3 strokes and 5 divisions, and the wound of the inserted shuriken was treated. Then there is the broken arm. The joint technique can not only hurt people, but also save people. Accurately find the broken bones, connect the dislocated ones, and use sage art to stimulate the regeneration of osteogenic cells. After doing this calmly, Miura's situation was barely stabilized. From serious injuries to minor injuries. Miura opened his eyes with difficulty, saw Gong Yi, and grinned. Captain Gong Yi, how are you? Gong Yi used his sage art to heal the wound that had just stopped bleeding before, and said, the medical ninjas are not enough, so I'll make up the numbers. Miura twitched the corners of his mouth, then I'm lucky, I heard that you have learned medical ninjutsu from Master Tsunade, so you must be very skilled. Gong Yi shrugged, it's okay, if you were someone else, maybe you would die. But with me here, don't worry, you'll be fine soon. Miura Mingyuan hummed, closed his eyes, endured the pain, and let Gong Yi treat him. After 10 minutes passed, he felt much more relaxed. Walked away from the gate of death, and came back again. Gong Yi wiped his sweat, but felt that medical ninjutsu was more tiring than fighting. 4. Chakra control ability, the requirements were too high. From start to finish, no slack is allowed. No wonder the system will become the head of the Konoha medical force. As one of the side quests, it is not enough to show 1 or 2 superb medical ninjutsu. Must persevere, save a lot of ninjas, let them thank you from the bottom of your heart, and let the rest of the medical team recognize you in order to become the leader. I am tired. Okay. Miura Akira said gratefully. In all, Captain Gong Yi has saved me twice. I don't know how to repay you for this kindness. It's from the same village, to say this. It's too outlandish. A wave of his hand, he asked curiously, which line of defense are you on? The first line of defense, with my squad on guard duty. Miura Mingyuan's expression became a little gloomy, it's just a pity that my team members are all dead. Gong Yi didn't ask questions right away, giving Miura a little more time to feel sad. He actually knew very well that civilian ninjas like Miura Akira were not even able to reach Jonin. The event of a war, they are basically cannon fodder. Some people may say that the first line of defense has to be guarded by someone, why did they think Miura and the others are cannon fodder? But those people don't think about it. Since ancient times, the border guards have been a country's very elite army. For example, in the original Huaxia world of Gongyi, the border of Zhao state in the Sengoku period was guarded by the general Li Mu, and in the Qin dynasty, Meng Tian expanded the border. During the Han dynasty, there was even Huo Qubing who went on an expedition to the Huns. These are all elite soldiers. In Konoha, the ninjas most suitable for the first line of defense on the border should be Aburame, Hyuga, Inazuka, Yamanaka. Nara is a family of ninjas. First, they have very good detection methods, and second, they also have strong communication and communication capabilities. Once you encounter the enemy's massive attack, you can block it and notify the rear. Not much better than Miura Akira. Weak civilian ninjas. However, they are on the second line of defense, a very safe place. The first wave of the most ferocious attacks is carried by civilian ninjas, and the second wave of blocking battles, those who are easy to make meritorious deeds, will come from them. A detailed analysis is as simple as that. Gongyi knew very well that if it wasn't for his outstanding performance in the past 2 years, maybe he would have died at the forefront like Miura. When Miura recovered a little, Gongyi asked again, "What happened yesterday? Why did Sunagakur suddenly attack?" Miura replied, "I don't know the specific situation, but I only know that the enemy has more than 20 powerful Jonins attacking the first line of defense. And our first line of defense, only a dozen or so Jonins are far away from each other. It's also split apart." In a hurry, he was seriously injured. Gongyi's expression froze. More than 20 Sunagakur Jonin. Isn't this the number of ninjas who chased him before? Afterwards, the first line of defense was broken, and the ninjas on the second line of defense came forward. However, on Sunagakur's side, there are hundreds of ninjas one after another. We, Konoha, suffered a loss due to the fierce battle between the two sides. Fortunately, in the back, Orochimaru-sama personally led people to support, not only to defeat Sunagakur, but also to snatch back the first line of defense. Miura has some words in the back, probably complaining about the second line of defense's family ninjas. The support is too slow, causing their first line of defense to suffer heavy casualties. Gongyi already understood why Orochimaru didn't come to see him and Shikaku yesterday. It was to support the front line. And Sunagakur's extreme reaction also shows how important it is for Gongyi and the others to destroy the base. Sunagakur. Maybe it has something to do with killing Monziman himself. Gongyi was very confident, and with his old body, he would definitely not be able to carry it with his old body. Even if Chiyo, a powerful medical ninja, made his own efforts, he would never be able to save Menziman. The loss of an important stronghold, still in the rear, was a provocation that Sunagakur could not bear. Of a puppet master will make the top of Sunagakur unable to remain silent. Their frantic attack on the Konoha line is the best proof. Just then, Battalion 1. 6. The gate of the tent was pushed open, and a large crowd squeezed in. The leader is Orochimaru. After he came in, he spit out 2 words without talking nonsense. Rescue. Behind him is a horribly wounded ninja. Gongyi glanced at Eri Sakurai who was busy, took a deep breath, stood up, and commanded the medical ninja. Since he wants to be the leader of the Konoha medical unit, he must seize the opportunity to show his performance. Seeing Gongyi methodically instructing the medical ninja to save people, and taking over 2 wounded himself, Orochimaru raised his eyebrows in surprise. Seeing Gongyi skillfully using palm sage art, healing art, hemostasis and other medical ninjutsu, Orochimaru even stopped his steps to leave. Quietly stood there and observed it carefully. Especially when Gongyi calmly used a chakra scalpel, the corners of Orochimaru's mouth rose involuntarily. Chapter 87. Working with Orochimaru. The Sunagakur village base camp is different from the camp established by Konoha. Their strongholds are mostly sand houses built with yellow sand. At this moment, people come and go, and from time to time wounded ninjas are carried in. Chiyo and Ebizo stood in the command room, staring at the scene outside, silent. Ebizo squinted slightly. Sister, the plan to attack Konoha has been successful for the most part. Not only broke the first line of defense, penetrated the second line of defense, but also forced their commander Orochimaru out. It's just that our losses are also very heavy, and Orochimaru is too powerful. Chiyo snorted coldly. Of course Orochimaru is not weak, I couldn't even take him down before, I never thought of killing him with a single raid. Chiyo glanced back, and in the corner of the command room, there was a black wooden coffin quietly placed. It's just that Konoha dared to attack our rear when he was still unsteady, which is too arrogant. Monziman's death, they must pay the price. Ebizo sighed. Their only remaining master puppet maker in Sunagakure was assassinated by the Konoha ninja raiding Chinli. A thing really needs revenge. Yesterday, when Ebizo arrived, only to see Monziman after the war, relying on the puppet, barely holding a breath. 10 people from Kinmatsu to Chiyo, he passed away. 2 inches if Sasori were still around, that would be great. Speaking of Sasori, Chiyo couldn't help frowning. In the village of Sunagakure, Monziman is an absolute master of making and manipulating puppets. Under this, Chiyo is only good at manipulating puppets, and her grandson, Sasori, is known as a genius puppet stylist, and has a talent no less than Monziman in production. If Sasori is still there, in the village, even if Monziman dies, it will not affect the subsequent war. But no if. Sister, do you say that the disappearance of Sasori has anything to do with the disappearance of the 3rd generation of Kazekage-sama? Ebizo asked suddenly, his eyes twinkling. Chiyo turned around and gave him a stern look. Ebizo, I don't want to hear this a second time in the future. 3 generations of Kazekage were assassinated by Konoha ninjas. This is a fact. Konoha must give an account of this. If they don't, then we will use war to force them to pay. Facing Chiyo's aggressive attitude, Ebizo subconsciously took a step back. A stern expression, Ebizo probably understood what his sister was thinking. Many people in the village suspected that the disappearance of the 3 generations of Kazekage had something to do with Sasori, and this incident was suppressed by Chiyo in the end. Then the condemnation of Konoha was launched, and war was declared. Sister really loves her grandson. Ebizo bowed his head and began to analyze the trend of the war after that. This war was initiated by our village and sent to the battlefield. There were more than 2,000 ninjas in the initial stage. It was a surprise to Konoha. However, with the arrival of Konoha's follow-up ninja reinforcements, the situation may not be in our favor. Chiyo's grip on the master is tight, of course she knows this. Konoha's strength is far higher than Sunagakure village. If it's just 2 villages fighting, even if Sunagakure can get a little early advantage, as long as Konoha gets serious, the result is predictable. However, this war, from the very beginning, Chiyo did not intend to fight against Konoha with the power of a village. Have you chosen the staff sent to Iwagakure village? Ebizo nodded. I personally lead the team to talk to Iwa Tsuchikage. But sister, you really plan to pull other ninja villages into the water too? Humph. Chiyo sneered. The Land of Fire has occupied the best land and has the most prosperous commercial trade these years. Such a big piece of fat, I don't believe other countries will not be tempted. Destroy Konoha, and the country of fire will naturally collapse. That old guy Onoki, he will make the right choice. Phew. The wind blows, and this world will no longer be peaceful. Chakra gathers on the edge of the palm, forming a sharp blade, slowly cutting open the abdomen of a ninja. Probing his hand deep inside, Gong Yi pushed aside the damaged internal organs and nodded. Needle and thread. Do stitches. The assistant next to him quickly handed over the tools he needed, and Gong Yi methodically performed internal organs repair surgery for the wounded. There were medical ninjas around who saw this scene, and they were amazed. Of the proud disciple of Tsunade-sama, Captain Gong Yi, not only can master the advanced medical ninjutsu like sage art, but also the chakra scalpel. After sewing up the internal organs, Gongyi retracted his hand and released his palm sage art to stimulate the activity of muscle cells and restore the cut wound. When he healed another injured ninja, he looked up and saw Orochimaru standing in the tent. Master Orochimaru. Orochimaru nodded to Gongyi, looked around at the wounded in the tent, and asked suddenly, "You are the one who directs the medical ninja to treat these wounded. How long will it take to save them?" Gongyi thought for a moment, then confidently said, 3 days, give me 3 days. Okay, I'll give you 3 days. All ninjas are assigned to you, 3 days later, I will come to you. Orochimaru gave him a deep look and turned to leave. Gongyi looked at his back, pursed the corners of his mouth, and smiled. Master Gongyi, the patient in bed number 9 has recovered. Have he recovered, then let him go out without occupying the bed. Master Gongyi, Inazuka's wound has worsened again. How could it get worse? It's already been dealt with. Did he not listen to me and let the wound touch something? It seems that his ninja dog licked his wound. Bastard, listen to my orders. There can't be any ninja dogs or psychic beasts in the medical camp. They all have bacteria that worsen wounds. Master Gongyi. Gongyi rubbed his swollen head, quite tired. It turns out that being the leader of a unit is such a hassle. What you need is not only superb and convincing medical ninjutsu, but also a strong commanding ability. During these 3 days, he not only personally took action to treat everyone, but also assigned strong or weak medical ninjas to treat and observe some other lightly wounded people. Fortunately, I've made it through. Gongyi looked at the camp with a sense of accomplishment. Under his command, everything was in order. Who had doubts about him also quickly trusted him. It can be said that although he is not the head of the medical corps in name, in fact, as long as Tsunade does not appear, all the medical corps in the war against Sunagakure will be managed by him. If I get it, I will complete this task. Gongyi thought in his heart, just in time, said Cao Cao will arrive. The figure of Orochimaru has come outside the tent. Wei Li, I'll go out first, and you'll take care of me here. Aries Sakurai smiled sweetly, go ahead, Lord Gongyi. Gongyi scratched his head, it's okay, let such a sweet and gentle young lady call him, sir. It feels pretty good. Arriving outside the camp, Orochimaru looked at him for a while. Yes, your medical ninjutsu is a bit stronger than Tsunade. How dare I compare to Mr. Tsunade? Orochimaru shook his head, excessive modesty is a cover-up. I say you are strong, and naturally I have my own judgment. Gongyi shrugged, no longer humble. Judging from the master's medical ninjutsu, in addition to regular medical ninjutsu, he also has a sage art and a chakra scalpel, which is a ninjutsu that even Tsunade finds difficult. Say that he is somewhat better than Tsunade is true. Then thank you for your affirmation. No thanks, maybe when the war is over, we will have a chance to cooperate. Gongyi's heart moved, and when he cooperated with Orochimaru, he suddenly remembered the experiments of Orochimaru. There are many places that require the cooperation of medical ninjas. This can be seen from the original book. Orochimaru knows that Kabuto is a multifaceted spy, but still reuses Kabuto. Excellent medical ninjas are very important for Orochimaru's experiments. But Orochimaru is not talking about cooperation in depth now, but walks out. Let's go see Shikaku. I don't know how his injuries are doing. Chapter 88. The leader of the medical force, the third More. The Nara clan participated in this war and had a camp of their own. After all, they also carried the corresponding ninja beasts, deer. Unlike in the original book, the deer of the Nara clan, except Shikamaru appeared when he designed to ambush Hidan. And nothing else. When Gongyi got to know Konoha, he found out. The deer cultivated by the Nara family have unique uses, such as hauling supplies, identifying water sources, etc. This is also a kind of psychic beast. Although it is not as powerful as the ninja dogs of the Inuzuka clan, the snakes, toads, and slugs of the Three Holy Lands, it has a great auxiliary fighting effect, but it can also be regarded as a contribution to the war. Nara Shikaku recuperates in his family's camp, and a special tribe is responsible for taking care of him. When Orochimaru and Gong Yi came together, Shikaku, with a pale face, had already stood up to meet them. "How's the injury?" "It's alright, it's fine, it just takes a while to rest." Nara Shikaku laughed. His eyes fell from Orochimaru to Gong Yi. "Gong Yi, thank you." These two simple words can contain very heavy emotions. Gong Yi doesn't just carry Shikaku back from the chasing soldiers and save him by himself. Nara Shikaku is a person who values love and righteousness, and just two words show his attitude. Gong Yi smiled and shook his head. "It's fine if you're okay, don't worry about the others." Nara Shikaku no longer delays on this topic. He knows very well why Orochimaru came to him. Soon, he told Orochimaru about the situation of the mission that day. Mentioned that Hyuga died in battle. Orochimaru's face remained calm. Orochimaru was slightly disgusted when he said that Uchiha Chikaz retreated alone regardless of his companions. The Uchiha family and Konoha are separated from each other, and they are no longer the same. Shikaku didn't dare to comment. Compared to the Uchiha family, the Nara family was a lot less valuable. He sighed. "I made this plan, it's too risky, and it must be prudent in the future." After this incident, Nara Shikaku's whole person has a faint transformation. He is no longer complacent because of his intelligence, his mind has settled, and he has become calm in his dealings with others. If you give him a few more years, or after this war, he will surely occupy a place at the top of Konoha. Orochimaru waved his hand. "There is no need to say more about self-blame. The task is completed, our strategic goal is achieved." A stronghold and the death of Monzemon, Sunagaku's strength in the puppet department has been greatly reduced, and there is no chance of winning this war. Quote. Nara Shikaku nodded, and in that respect they were indeed successful. But he was still a little worried. Hyuga died in battle. What is the attitude of the rest of the Hyuga clan now? Orochimaru smiled grimly. "He's just a family member. Dead or alive doesn't matter. And Sunagaku attacked our defense line aggressively a few days ago. I think they have increased their troops a lot. I also sent a message to the village for help, and now the reinforcements should be arriving soon. The Hyuga clan will also send other people over to take charge." "Is that so?" Gong Yi stood quietly, listening to the two of them analyze the situation. To be said that as the most profound people in the Hokage world, Nara Shikaku and Orochimaru, all showed the penultimate-s overall view. This war, from the contact, the outbreak, to the continuation, and the direction of the war, they have now analyzed everything. Gong Yi listened a lot and benefited a lot. Orochimaru turned his head suddenly. "Gong Yi, I plan to appoint you as the head of the medical unit, what do you think?" Gong Yi wanted to shirk and then pick up again. But looking at Nara Shikaku's trusting gaze, he no longer hesitated. "Accept the appointment of the commander, I also believe that I can do it well." Orochimaru hummed, ready to wait for the reinforcements to arrive, and he would announce the relevant appointments. If anyone disagrees, no one should disagree. Behind Gong Yi, there are Orochimaru and Tsunade. Nara Shikaku also laughed. "Gong Yi's medical ninjutsu is extremely brilliant, and I am the first to agree." Well, this has the support of another family spokesperson. Gong Yi-chung, being the leader of the medical unit is a sure thing. After visiting Shikaku, Gong Yi and Orochimaru walked to the main camp together. Arrived at the gate of the camp, Might Guy quickly ran over. Captain, I finally found you." Gong Yi smiled and said, "What's the matter? Your guard duty should be over. Have you just returned to the camp to rest?" Might Guy said anxiously, "No, Asuma is injured. The med ninjas in the camp can't help, they say only you can." Asuma is injured. Gong Yi's expression froze, and Orochimaru next to him heard that his teacher's son was injured, but just smiled. "Gong Yi, you go, I'm fine here." Gongyi did not go straight away, but held on to the anxious Might Guy. How did he get hurt? Fight Sunagaku. Might Guy responded quickly. You are the third line of defense, how can you meet ninjas? Orochimaru frowned. Has the third line of defense already met Sunagaku? Gongyi glanced at Orochimaru. The meaning of it, I believe Orochimaru has understood it. As for what to do next, it is none of his business. He took Might Guy and left directly. At Gongyi's speed, it only took a few seconds to cross the main camp to the last medical camp. Ignoring Might Guy's shock at Gongyi's speed, Gongyi walked right in. Screaming Asuma lying on the bed, Gongyi frowned. Where's the injury? The medical ninja who had been checked next to him quickly replied. I was hit with a detonating charm, my legs fell into many iron pieces, and my meridians were sealed by thousands of books. The situation is a bit complicated, but fortunately, Gongyi can handle it. It's nothing, leave it to me. Gongyi made a judgment, and then said to Asuma, bear the pain, I will help you deal with the wound on your leg first. Asuma twitched the corners of his mouth, as if the wound had been drawn, his face wrinkled tightly. He reluctantly said, can I smoke a cigarette? You treat you, I. Come on, although you're not an adult, but if your father is here, I won't blame you. Kionzong, please help me get the cigarette case. The side, Hyuga Kionzong silently took out a cigarette case for him, and even lit a cigarette for him. Gongyi glanced at Hyuga Kionzong and quickly treated Asuma's wound. Half an hour later, Gongyi clapped his hands and handed Asuma, who had passed out of pain, to the care of other ninjas. He pulled Hyuga Chizong, lie down. Captain, I'm fine. Blame me for not protecting Asuma. I tell you to lie down, just lie down, don't think I can't see it, you are still standing here with your injuries. At this moment, Gongyi, who always smiles, is as stern as an elder. Hyuga Kionzong lowered his head and lay down on the bed obediently. He opened his clothes, and there was a wound in his abdomen, which was extremely terrifying. Stop. Are you there yet, Hazashi-sama? A man in a gray kimono shut down the hideous Byakugan and issued an order to the thousands of ninjas behind him. When you arrive at your destination, wait for me here first. I'll see Commander Orochimaru. I'll make arrangements for you later. Chapter 89. Who approves, who opposes? Konoha Base Camp, in the commander's tent. Orochimaru is sitting on the top of the long wooden table, and next to him is the pale-faced Nara Shikaku. In addition to the two of them, there were also several ninjas exuding great strength, each sitting on the wooden table. Akamichi Choza of Akamichi Clan, Yamanaka Inoichi of Yamanaka Clan, Inazuka Claw Girl of Inazuka Clan, Aburame Jawei of Aburame Clan, Sarutobi Aster of Sarutobi Clan, Uchiha Clan, Uchiha Chikas, and the head of Hyuga Clan who just arrived, Hyuga Hazashi. Said that each of these people present is an absolutely important person in their respective family. Many people are considered by their respective families as candidates for the next generation of patriarchs. Even Hyuga Hazashi, who seems to be only a branch elder of the Hyuga clan, but in fact, his elder brother Hyuga Hiyashi, who took over as the head of the clan last month. It can be seen that Konoha village has shown a lot about the war with Sunagaku. Enough attention was paid. But he wasn't too careful, and he didn't send out the patriarch-level figures of the major families in the village. The people they sent were very strong, but they were all young. It seems that for this war, the major families all have the idea of honing their younger generations. If they can win, the younger generation can obtain military merit and fame, and after returning, with great strength, they can successfully succeed the patriarch and hold the power of the family. Lord Orochimaru, everyone has arrived, not yet. Start. Uchiha Chinfeng said impatiently, seeing these. Even though he was weaker than Uchiha, but in the village with a better family than Uchiha, he felt irritated. Especially that Nara Shikaku, who is so weak, can sit next to Orochimaru. Status is even higher than the representative of his Uchiha clan. Orochimaru glanced at him calmly, and said lightly, "There is one more person to wait for. Who is still worthy of us waiting for the representative ninjas of the major families in the village? They are all here." Uchiha Chika's words were actually what other clan representatives wanted to ask ninjas. Who else had to wait a long time for these characters to suddenly hear footsteps outside, and the tent door was pushed open immediately. Who was 1.6 meters tall appeared in front of everyone with a trace of fatigue. "Sorry for making you guys wait so long." Everyone was stunned. Could it be that this little guy looks tall, but his immature face doesn't look like an adult? Among them, there are one or two who know Gong Yi. "See you at this scene," he looked thoughtful. Shikaku waved. "Gong Yi, come, sit here." Gong Yi hesitated for a moment, but the position Shikaku was pointing to turned out to be on the opposite side of him, that is, to the right of Orochimaru. If the importance is divided according to where he sits, he is Orochimaru's right-hand man just like Shikaku. The status was even higher than Uchiha and Hyuga after that. Orochimaru didn't say anything, just nodded. Gong Yi no longer hesitated, walked over and sat down. Orochimaru chuckled lightly, seeming to sense that there was an atmosphere of doubt and dissatisfaction in the venue. "First, make an appointment decision. I have decided to appoint Gong Yi as the leader of the Konoha Ninja Army, healer. Do you agree?" As soon as these words came out, there was a lot of discussion in the venue. What a joke, at his age, he can take on such a heavy responsibility. "Lord Orochimaru, the medical unit is related to the lives of our subordinates, please make your decision carefully. Too young, inexperienced in doing things, something went wrong. What should I do if Lord Hokage blames? This kid, can you know medical ninjutsu? ... Gong Yi quietly surveyed the crowd, counting in his heart, who agreed and who opposed. Under his observation, he found that the Akamichi and Yamanaka clans, although they had doubts, did not object. Was greeted by Nara Shikaku. The Nara clan and their two clans have always watched and helped each other, and they have been friends from generation to generation. Especially the new generation, Akamichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, known as Ino Shikacho. The Sarutobi clan has no objection. Sarutobi Aster, the eldest son of 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, is also the eldest brother of his own team member Asuma. He should be on Orochimaru's side and will not oppose Orochimaru's decision. As for the others, Inuzuka, Aburame, Uchiha, were the most vehemently opposed. The Hyuga family was silent, and the leader, Hyuga Hazashi, seemed to be observing the situation, ready to make a decision for or against. "Are you done?" Orochimaru asked suddenly. Everyone closed their mouths and dared not speak anymore. Orochimaru, known as Sannin, is so powerful that no one will doubt whether he can suppress these powerful family members. Orochimaru smiled grimly and licked his tongue. Gong Yi has studied medical ninjutsu at Tsunade. If you suspect that he is not skilled enough, please use your brain. 3 days ago, we were attacked by Sunagaku, and there were more than 100 ninjas who were injured in various ways. I asked Gong Yi to lead the medical team for treatment, and no one has been seriously injured. Commanding level, I don't need to say more. As for age. Oh, your fathers, at the age of 5 or 6, went to war at the age of 8, and became famous at the age of 8 or 9. Doubting Gong Yi's age is doubting the glory of your parents. I won't say anything else. Now I appoint Gong Yi as the chief of the medical force, whoever opposes, whoever agrees. The scene, there was silence, and then Nara Shikaku was the first to speak. My Nara clan agree. After him, someone spoke one after another. My Akamichi clan agree. Yamanaka clan agree. Sarutobi Aster has no opinion. It turns out that you are Gong Yi. I heard that Inazukali from our clan is. You healed. Well, I can trust your level, and we Inuzuka clan have no opinion. the female ninja named Inuzuka Claw said with a smile, before her face changed. Gong Yi glanced at her, and if it was not bad, this woman should be the mother of the future Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang and Inuzuka Kiba. It's pretty good looking and full of wildness. Aburame Jawei, agree. A man in a light green trench coat, with half of his cheek covered by the collar, said softly. Only ones who haven't spoken yet are Uchiha and Hyuga. And these two clans are also the two most powerful giants in the village. Singled out, they are the existences of other families present that cannot be looked up to. Hyuga Hazashi looked at the situation at the venue, pondered for a while, and then said, Hazashi has just arrived, and the specific situation is not very clear. Everything is according to Orochimaru-sama's orders. HMPH, let's figure it out. For me, Uchiha, medical ninjas don't need at all, just kill the enemy. Uchiha Chinfeng said arrogantly, but there was no objection in his words. So, it is unanimously approved. Orochimaru was satisfied that his first order was approved by everyone, which was a manifestation of his power. But that's all, he wasn't addicted to the feeling of master's power. In his opinion, this is just to sell a good one to Gong Yi so that he can cooperate with Gong Yi in the future. Young people are the most easily moved, a few words of trust, and a few important tasks, they will give up on the strong. He was quietly, step by step letting Gong Yi fall to his side. Gong Yi silently looked at the inconsistencies of everyone's attitude, and could understand how much political game there was. He was only agreed at the end, stood up and said a few words. It's probably, if you will manage the medical ninja well, become the life support of the Konoha ninja army, and let everyone fight with peace of mind. Orochimaru licked his tongue. Now, we can start the discussion of the second matter. Sunagakure village is bold, not only slandering my Konoha village, but also preemptively declaring war. 3 days ago, it attacked our army's defense line, causing many casualties. Now that our second batch of ninja reinforcements has arrived, it's time to teach them a lesson. Chapter 90, Thanks from Hyuga Hazashi. War meeting is over. 5 days later, the Konoha ninja army will cross the riverland of Imagawara and attack the front line of Sunagakure village. However, this does not mean that in the middle of the past few days, everyone is idle. For example, the Hyuga family, after Hyuga Hazashi arrived, the defense inspection task of the base camp was handed over to him. Left Orochimaru's command camp, he sent someone to open Byakugan, take turns to change shifts, and check the situation around the base camp 24 hours a day. Prevent the strong Sunagakure from sneaking past the 3 lines of defense and stealing information from the base camp. Gong Yi also has something to do here. Sunagakure is good at using poison, and various puppet techniques are also very strange. He has to lead the medical team to speed up the development of enough antidote. It's best to do one by hand. Of course, this task is too difficult. With the current base of Konoha medical ninjas, it will take more than a month to do it with overtime. Orochimaru can understand the difficulties of Gong Yi, and the specific task given to him is to prepare as much as possible for Jonin. Gong Yi walked towards the camp he was in charge of. Along the way, the ninja who learned that he was appointed as the leader of the medical unit, saw him with respect. For the past few days, Gong Yi has not healed everyone without rest, and has won the respect of the first batch of ninjas. He is still a long way from completing the tasks issued by the system. The second group of ninjas who arrived did not respect him so much, and at most they just got along with him indifferently. Gong Yi doesn't care, he knows very well that as the war goes on, the respect the medical ninja can gain will only increase. And this war with Sunagakure will not end in a while. Based on the memory of the plot, Gong Yi judged that this war against Sunagakure probably lasted for a year or 2. Now both sides have only invested a little of their respective villages. On Konoha's side, there are 2 groups of ninja troops, about 1,800 people. On the Sunagakure side, according to what Orochimaru said at the meeting just now, there should be about 2,000 people. But for Da Ninja Village, this ninja is not even half of it. In the original work, Iwagakure village used tens of thousands of ninjas to kill 3 generations of Raikage, and in the Fourth Ninja War, he called for a coalition of 80,000 ninjas. Konoha, who is stronger than Iwagakure village, there are at least tens of thousands of ninjas in the village. Now this collision, where does it go? Gong Yi no. Hurry, the longer the war lasts, the more he can improve his status. Once the war is over and back in the village, not to mention the current Sanin or Namikaze Minato, he can at least have a reputation like Tsunade used to be. After inspecting the medical unit's camp, and checking the recovery of several wounded, Gong Yi came to the outside of the camp. Hyuga Chisong is standing outside with a gloomy expression. Kionzong, why are you running out if you don't rest in there? Hyuga Kionzong said gloomily, my injury is serious, but it's not complicated. After your treatment, Captain, I don't need much training. Gong Yi frowned and affirmed his recognition. Palm Sage Art does have a good therapeutic effect on some serious trauma. Hyuga Kionzong looked at Gong Yi, hesitated and said, Captain, I am sorry, I didn't fulfill your request. What? Gong Yi crooked, Gong Yi smiled, put his hands behind his back, and didn't mind. When a ninja performs a mission, it is inherently dangerous, and it's not your fault. And I heard Guy talk about the battle situation. A puppet ninja who is good at stealth can cross the front 2 lines of defense, and his strength can be said to be very strong. Especially since he still sneaks up on you, and in the end the 3 of you can kill him, it is very powerful. Hyuga Kionzong shook his head. It all depends on Guy, the puppet of the puppet ninja, who is not afraid of Asuma's futon wind style ninjutsu. It is too hard. My gentle fist doesn't work very well either, and I can't hit the puppet ninja's acupuncture point. Gong Yi hummed. Might Guy has now started to practice the 8 inner gates. Good at steel fist, can penetrate the puppet body very well. Just like Gong Yi's sneak attack on Menziman a few days ago, the 10 or so people of Kinmatsu, who are famous for their reputation, were blasted into a big spiral hole by him. If it hadn't been for the good materials made by the 10 people of Jinmatsu, the ordinary puppets would have been blown up by one punch long ago. Oh yes, I have something to tell you. Now I am the head of the medical unit, and I don't have to go out to perform tasks. 3 of you belong to the palace team, so you don't have to go out. Hyuga Kionzong asked curiously, don't you have to go out on a mission? Gong Yi smiled, I can't say that either. Your protection of the medical troops is also considered a mission. Other hand, Asuma's injuries are more serious, and the people from the Sarutobi clan will come over later and bring him back to the village to recuperate. This is a special treat. Injured and sent back to the village directly, other civilian ninjas cannot enjoy this kind of treatment. Often, they are treated in situ, healed, and then continue to fight. Of course, other people can't use battlefield deserters as Asuma. After all, Asuma has also been on the battlefield and killed the enemy. The most important point is that he is the son of Lord Hokage. Hyuga Kionzong glanced back with some envy, although he couldn't see Asuma who was healing, but he seemed to feel Asuma's kind of. The feeling of being cared for by others all the time. Pity for myself. Oh, Hazashi-sama, why did you come here? The voice of Captain Gong Yi. Hyuga Kionzong turned around, looked at the approaching man, and bowed respectfully. Elder Hazashi. Hyuga Hazashi signaled to him not to be too polite, and even touched his head lovingly. Are you hurt? Your face is so pale. Hyuga Kionzong replied moved. It's all right, the captain personally treated me. Hyuga Hazashi smiled slightly and looked at Gong Yi. Captain Gong Yi, I thank you in advance. Gong Yi shook his head and smiled lightly. It's nothing, Kionzong is my subordinate, he is still a member of the village, and he should be saved. Hyuga Hazashi said solemnly, I can't say that. After Kionzong followed you, I learned a lot and survived several dangerous missions. As his elder, I must thank you in person. Looking at this elegant, but persistent man in front of him, Gong Yi didn't. He declined again and accepted this thank you. Two chatted for a while, and Hyuga Hazashi left for the reason of visiting the base camp. Gong Yi looked at Kyeonzong's moved appearance, and suddenly asked, "What is Hazashi-sama's attitude towards the people who separated from you?" Although Hyuga Kyeonzong didn't understand why the captain asked this, he still had something to say. "He is the elder of our branch and the younger brother of the elder, and he is very kind to the members of our branch. And Elder Hazashi has been working to make the main clan and the family split, let go of prejudice, and work together to grow the family." After hearing this, Gong Yi looked a little complicated. He thought about the future, was threatened by Kumogakure villagers, and in order to protect Hyuga Hayashi, Hazashi had to commit suicide. If Hyuga Hazashi knew his fate in the future, would he be so dedicated to doing things for the Hyuga family? The world is unpredictable. Thanks for the rewards from the brothers. The code words have made me dizzy these 2 days. I didn't remember which ones were awarded. I'm really sorry. 5th update has been completed, and there will be updates later. Just treat it as a reward and add more. To read this paragraph, otherwise block the collection of IP and GT. Chapter 91. 4 Generations of Kazekage vs 4 Generations of Hokage. 5 days later, at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was pitch black, and the drizzle fell again. The rustling sound continued to sound, and soon, it converged into one. Under the night, the Konoha ninja army dressed in black and green ninja uniforms has assembled. This battle was led by Namikaze Minato, who hurriedly arrived after finishing the intelligence spying work 2 days ago. He will carry 1,000 troops mixed from family ninjas and civilian ninjas, across the river land of Imagawara, and raid the front line of Sunagakure village. As for Aminawahara, some of Sunagakure's spies, the Dark Sentry, have been led by Namikaze Minato himself and cleaned up. A short period of time, Sunagakure has not found out, and has not added a new dark whistle. Konoha is just. The timing is poor, and they are caught off guard. Gong Yi stood on a high mountain in the first line of defense, overlooking the fast-moving team under his feet, and beside him was his current deputy Sakurai Ariyi. Sakurai Ariyi was holding a big black umbrella to shield Gong Yi from the rain. Looking down, she was worried. "I heard that there are more than 2,000 people in Sunagakure, so Minato-sama brought 1,000, 3220. Go, okay." Gong Yi said lightly. The main goal of this raid is not to defeat Sunagakure, but to boost our morale. Morale. Sakurai Eri doesn't understand a little. Women don't understand these things. War matters, especially medical ninjas like her who stay in the hospital all day. Gong Yi nodded. The last time Sunagakure attacked us, we easily broke through 2 layers of defense, and even the 3rd layer was penetrated. If it wasn't for Orochimaru-sama to take back the camp in person, our base camp would not have been preserved. Although it was successful in the end, our morale dropped dramatically. If you don't cheer up, then in the next battle, the ninjas will not be willing to fight, and the general trend will fall to Sunagakure's side. Although there are not many people brought by Namikaze Minato, they are all elites. As long as a certain victory is achieved, they will retreat in an orderly manner. And we. Gong Yi turned his head, and slowly walked down the mountain. Wei Li followed behind him, rather curious, and even looked at him with a hint of admiration. All we have to do is to respond to the returning team members at the first line of defense. When encountering injured ninjas, we will treat them as soon as possible. What about Orochimaru-sama? He is the commander-in-chief of the battlefield, so how can he easily take action? The last time we were on our feet, he had to move. Not now. If the enemy keeps Orochimaru-sama at all costs, our loss will be greater than the death of 100 or 1,000 ninjas. Having said that, Gong Yi stopped. There was a look of reminiscence in his eyes. If White Fang is still alive, then the battle commander will be White Fang. A strong man like Orochimaru doesn't have to be trapped in the back at all, and he can shoot at will. It's just a pity that White Fang has passed away. The 3 generations of Hokage can't get old, and Sunagaku no longer has any scruples. Perhaps, this is also the reason why Sunagaku village dared to provoke war. Without White Fang, Orochimaru's war commanding ability has not been verified, but they have Chiyo, Ebizo, veteran powerhouses who have experienced World War II, and they are desperate, totally capable of wrestling with Konoha. Sunagaku front line, Rasa, wearing a large cape, patrolled slowly. Behind him is a group of escorts himself formed by him, and every ninja selected is a powerful Jonin. Just like the 3 generations of Kazekage Kazama Hiroshi, Sa Izumi, this group of escorts, he is also forming his own team. Chiyo-sama has promised that as long as this war is effective, she will do her best to support my superior Kazekage. I have to take this chance. Rasa's heart lined up, looking at the nearby ninjas, the ambition in his chest and abdomen continued to expand. He thought a lot, but also far away. Once he becomes Kazekage, he must first befriend Iwagakure village and join forces. Then, he will start the Tail Beast plan. Sunagaku village master is One Tail, but One Tail is not stable and often riots, causing huge losses to the village. Rasa has thought about it. With his own strength, he can completely suppress One Tail, if he can tame it. With a tailed beast that can be used at any time, the strength of Sunagaku village will definitely surpass that of Konoha. At that time, Sunagaku village will not need to be trapped in that difficult corner and can walk to the center of the continent. Annex the country of rivers, to conquer the country of rain, and to shock Konoha with great strength. But this is a later story, the top priority is to win this war. Suddenly, Rasa felt a sense of danger in his heart. His eyes widened, and countless golden sands shot up from behind him. Uchiha. Haha, I heard that you were the next generation Kazekage heir. Let me, Uchiha Chinfang, take your head today. A man flashing 3 Tomo Sharingan came out madly, and behind him, there were dozens of Uchiha people. Rasa gave him a serious look, and then turned his eyes to other places. Yellow flash, vertical and horizontal, from time to time came the screams of Sunagaku. More and more Konoha ninjas appeared on the battlefield. Sunagaku was caught off guard and suffered heavy damage. Rasa was angry, and Konoha dared to attack. Jiden magnet style. Gold dust imperial funeral. A raging flame spurted out, forming a sea of fire in an instant. From childhood to the top, bombarded the golden placer. As soon as the 2 sides came into contact, the sea of fire was instantly lost, retreated, and even had a sign of being extinguished. Rasa smiled contemptuously, Uchiha, that's all. Uchiha Chinfang was furious, regardless of the overwhelming gold dust. 3 Tomo Sharingan swirled, demonic illusion was already activated. The opposite Rasa's body instantly stiffened, and the golden sand poured into the sky also levitated. Uchiha Chinfang waved his hand with difficulty. Come on, go and kill him. Killing Rasa is a great achievement. The rise of Uchiha is up to you. Yes. More than 20 Uchiha people have started Sharingan. 1 Tomo, 2 Tomo are not a few, and even sporadic 3 Tomo Sharingan exist. These people approached Rasa. They were about to attack, but Rasa suddenly opened his eyes. It wasn't even influenced by Uchiha Chika's demonic illusion. With one hand, he shook it from a distance, and the golden sand, which had stopped, instantly wrapped the 20 or so Uchiha people. Jiden magnet style, broken glass. PFF'd, PFF'd, PFF'd. Countless blood flowers bloom from the golden sand. Everyone, all died. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Chinfang's eyes were full of yuhi. These are all the main battle faction clansmen that he finally brought out from the clan. He lost more than 20 at a time, he couldn't bear it, and neither could Uchiha. Rasa was slightly out of breath, snorted coldly, Uchiha, the old antique who should have passed away with the Senju clan, dared to kill me. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Rasa ignored him, waved his hand, and 555 guards rushed over. Miru Tianlin, Jinchuriki column, kill this Uchiha guy. Ignoring Uchiha Chinfeng, Rasa looked at the yellow flash with a solemn expression, and he couldn't let that guy wantonly slaughter Sunagaku's ninja. Rasa clasped her hands tightly, and then roared up to the sky. Namikaze Minato. The yellow flash stopped instantly, and in the man's hand, a handful of kunai dripped with blood. Less than half an hour after the battle started, he opened a breakthrough with the power of one person, beheading more than 30 ninjas. Judging from the record, not only is it not weaker than Rasa just now, but it is even better than that. Namikaze Minato looked at one with a grim expression. Turning to Rasa, he caught sight of Uchiha who was in a frenzied state, fighting frantically, and his heart skipped a beat. Rasa himself, but Uchiha Chinfeng grabbed the task. But now, Uchiha Chinfeng failed. Not only failed, but also lost a large number of Uchiha people, and now has gone into madness. The Uchiha people are prone to fall into madness, lose control of their minds, and go to extremes. Looks like I'm the only one here. Namikaze Minato was not afraid and went straight to Rasa. He had the same idea as Rasa. Rasa, who is good at Jiten magnet style, controls the powerful sands. If Rasa were to attack the Konoha ninja, one person could deal with dozens, hundreds, and kill them effortlessly. Someone has to hold Rasa alone. A roar, a flash of light, and the two fought together in an instant. If Gong Yi was here, he would only sigh. The future 4 generations of Kazekage, the future 4 generations of Hokage, this is really interesting. Philo reminds you, and LT, please keep the collection this paragraph, otherwise block the collection of IP, and GT. Chapter 92, Emperor Guy who almost died suddenly. Guy, how many doors can you open now? Ah, me, I opened the 4th door and got hurt. But the 5th door can't be opened. Might Guy scratched his head, somewhat regretfully. As a few squads guarding the medical unit, most of the time, they are relatively boring. Just after the shift was over, Asuma went back to Konoha village, and Hyuga Kionzong was very quiet and withdrawn, and the two couldn't talk a lot, so he simply came to see the captain Gong Yi. Gong Yi was also idle and bored, so he took the time to teach Might Guy's the 8 inner gates to practice. Hearing what Might Guy said, Gong Yi frowned. You don't move, I'll check your body. Ah. Might Guy hugged his chest and looked at Gong Yi vigilantly. Captain, I don't like men. Gong Yi smiled helplessly. What are you talking about, you kid, come here. The current Gong Yi, regardless of age, is already a little majestic. This is what he has led for a long time, and he has recently commanded dozens of ninjas in the medical unit, which he has accumulated. Come here. Might Guy came over obediently. Gong Yi stretched out his hand and put it on Might Guy. Chakra poured into Guy's body, and from time to time Gong Yi squeezed him in some places. A minute later, Gong Yi frowned even more. You're too impatient to practice the 8 inner gates, 29 is wrong. What's wrong? Gong Yi withdrew his hand, did not rush to explain, but asked, who taught you the 8 inner gates? Might Guy scratched his head and smirked, my father. Although he practiced badly, he thought I was a genius, so he taught me this ninjutsu. Might Guy's father, Might Guy, the 8 inner gates practiced badly and Gong Yi almost spit out a sip of salt soda. It was a one-man ninja sword with 7 people and 7 people. But thinking that Might Guy is still a genin now, he doesn't usually show off very much, and he is quite low-key, he understands. No wonder even his own son doesn't know his strength. Gong Yi shook his head. Instead of thinking about these things, he asked directly, did your father instruct you when he taught you anything? Might Guy thought for a while, and said uncertainly, my father said, let me never stop exercising, accumulate enough, the 8 inner gates will naturally learn. Gong Yi nodded, your father is right. Might Guy's eyes lit up, but he didn't expect that he was already the captain of Jonin, and he actually agreed with his father's words. In my house still has 2 brushes. But you didn't practice it right. Gong Yi said sternly, and got off Might Guy and jumped. Do you know that when I checked your body just now, the meridians were severely injured, and the dark wounds have accumulated for a long time. If you keep practicing like this, your body will die sooner or later. Might Guy was stunned. He touched his strong body, but he didn't feel it. Gong Yi added, the 8 inner gates is really like what your father said, it needs to be done step by step and accumulated over time to achieve something. When your physical strength reaches a certain level and your endurance becomes stronger, you will naturally be able to open 8 doors. These words, Gong Yi can also be regarded as experience. He opened 8 doors at first, but by virtue of his horror, he could open 3 doors in an instant. But later, when facing the corner, he forced the 6th door to open and almost broke his body. That is to say, he had the rejuvenation technique, so he didn't stay. But Might Guy didn't. You opened the 4th gate before and stepped into the dangerous area of the 8 inner gates. You didn't control your proportions, and it lasted for too long, causing your body to be hurt. You said that you tried to hit the 5th gate. How much are you now? At such a young age, your body has not grown yet. If the 5th gate is really opened and you haven't met the enemy, you will drain your body energy first. And died. Speaking of this, Gong Yi was also afraid and said, fortunately you didn't open the 5th door, otherwise I would not have you as a team member. Might Guy listened to these words blankly, and touched himself subconsciously. It seems that I sometimes feel uncomfortable in my body. Could it be that this is what the captain said about the injury to the meridian? He raised his head and looked at Gong Yi, who was a bit taller than himself. Captain, you are also practicing the 8 inner gates. Which door did you open? The 6th gate. Wow, that's awesome. But you can open the 6th door, why can't I open the 5th door? Bang! Gong Yi knocked Might Guy with a hammer. If you have such superb medical ninjutsu as me, I will open the door as you wish. Might Guy suddenly realized, only then did he know where the gap was. With superb medical ninjutsu, he can treat his injuries after opening the 8th gate at any time. No wonder Captain Gong Yi can open the 6th gate. In this way, you recently stopped the practice of the 8 inner gates. I will find a time to treat your body, and you will practice again. But remember, in the future, don't open 8 doors casually, you must wait until your body sends a signal that it can fully withstand the opening of the next door, and then go to the impact. Do you remember? Well, remember. Looking at Might Guy, who is a little ignorant, but a little bit passionate, Gong Yi can't stop shaking his head. In Hokage's original work, his favorite characters are the 4th generation of Namikaze Minato, followed by Emperor Guy. But if you continue to practice like this, Might Guy won't say Emperor Guy, I'm afraid he will die in the middle. Luckily, I had to fix it myself. But if it wasn't for me, in the original book, who corrected Guy's cultivation? Gong Yi didn't have time to think about this question. Because of the front line, someone came back. The first one to come back was Jonin from the Inuzuka clan, Inuzuka Lee. That's the unfortunate guy who made the wound worsen after Gong Yi finished his treatment and let his ninja dog lick him. However, he has recovered from his injuries and even participated in the assault on the Sunagaku front. He sat on the ninja dog, quickly returned to the camp, and reported the results to the crowd. Master Minato took us and completely penetrated the Sunagaku front line, beheading more than 5,320 Sunagaku ninjas, forcing them to retreat 3 kilometers. Now Minato-sama is returning from Imagawa with his troops. Guy spin. This assault is definitely a Guy spin. Hundreds of ninjas who stayed in the camp cheered. Even Orochimaru walked out of the command camp. First condolences to Inuzuka Lee, who came back to report the letter, and then brought 200 of 200 people to meet Namikaze Minato's troops. Sakurai Ariyi appeared in front of Gong Yi. Gong Yi, you were right. Minato-sama not only won the battle, but also pushed back the enemy frontline camp by 3,000 meters. However, when Gong Yi heard this, there was no expression. 3,000 meters is a matter of a few minutes for a ninja. Of course, Namikaze Minato did a good job, achieved brilliant results, and pushed back the enemy frontline camp. In terms of improving morale, it has indeed played a great effect. But Gong Yi's face, she gave the order seriously. Ellie immediately organized the medical ninjas in the camp and rushed to the first line of defense. Wei Li was stunned for a while, then she realized something and ran to the camp without looking back. Gong Yi put his hands behind him, looked at Orochimaru, who was going to meet the troops, and shook his head. We raided a camp of 2,000 people with 1,000 people, and killed more than 500 ninjas. The casualties on Konoha's side can also be imagined, so I'm busy now. Chapter 93, Konoha Duo, Second More. The cheers. Namikaze Minato returned to Konoha's first line of defense heroically, stained with blood and mud. All the ninjas behind him were also praised and cheered by everyone. Who did not have the opportunity to participate in the raid also expressed regret. Gong Yi doesn't feel sorry, and if those people see Gong Yi and the others busy treating the seriously wounded, they probably won't feel sorry either. Severe wounded who are in danger of life get medical treatment on the spot. Severely injured but not dead, arrange for other ninjas to carry them back. Slightly injured ninja, walk back to the base camp by yourself, and then give them treatment after we finish this batch. Eri, you go to Hyuga Hazashi and ask him to arrange someone to help count the number of wounded. In addition, you need bandages, needles and threads, antidote, and recovery medicine. You can go to the logistics side to get them. What's not enough? Not enough. Go to Lord Orochimaru, and let him hurry up and transfer him from the village. Otherwise, I will not be responsible for the death of these people. Gong Yi was busy commanding the crowd, and he himself took over a seriously injured Akamichi clan. Hearing that the medical ninjas in other places were in a hurry, he even asked them to bring people over, put both hands of sage art together, and treat 2 people at once. The young Jungsho's face was already covered with blood because of the sweat, and he looked just as ferocious and embarrassed as those ninjas who came back from the battlefield. Who were cheering in front gradually lowered their voices and looked towards this side quietly. For Gong Yi, who is frantically rescuing his comrades, everyone showed their respect. Nara Shikaku appeared at the right time, and after recovering for more than 10 days, his condition was much better, and his face became somewhat moist. Standing beside Orochimaru, he pointed to the seriously wounded and said, "It's Sunagaku, slandering our Konoha for no reason." It was Sunagaku who gave up peace and started war with despicableness. 9 days ago, they even disregarded the fighting between the 2 armies, and they made a surprise attack on our camp, causing dozens of ninjas to be killed and injured. And now, have you seen more than 200 ninjas, lying here, wailing in pain? They are all your companions, your brothers, your family. As soon as these words came out, all the Konoha ninjas had Yuhi's eyes. Their hatred and condemned Sunagaku. Hatred can often twist people into a rope, and then form a knife and chop at the enemy. But this is not enough, because the knife has not yet been edged, and it is not sharp enough. Shikaku waved his hand and pointed at guys spinning again. The Namikaze Minato party. But Sunagaku, never know how weak they are and how strong we Konoha are. Exclamation mark quote. Lord Namikaze Minato, with only 1,000 ninjas, he defeated 2,000 of them, forcing Sunagaku to take the front line back 3 kilometers. And behind us, the village of Konoha, the land of fire, and thousands of ninjas. We will win this war. The breeze blew, and the continuous drizzle of the past few days gradually stopped, and the sky showed a warm sunshine. Thousands of ninjas roared into the sky. Definitely. 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 Shikaku returned with satisfaction to the purpose of the Orochimaru Namikaze Minato raid, which was perfectly accomplished. Orochimaru glanced at Nara Shikaku with a faint smile. This young man is a bit interesting. No wonder the old man of the 3rd generation wants to let himself If I really want to do Hokage one day, there is such a person to assist. That's a lot easier. Gong Yi didn't have time to pay attention to the situation over there, he only knew that his side was really bad. More than 200 wounded and sick, and they are only a few dozen medical ninjas. Even after kicking out some ninjas with minor and serious injuries but no need to rush to heal, there are still more than 100 left. Gong Yi used medical ninjutsu and cursed inwardly, "Tsunade, sensei, why did you build the Konoha medical system halfway through, so don't care. If you continue this job, it will be much easier for me now." Of course, he wouldn't really blame Tsunade. Death of his younger brother and the lover who has just confessed, has no intention to do anything anymore. Tsunade is still there anyway. Konoha Hospital took care of him for many years and didn't let go. If it were someone else, it is estimated that he could not bear the blow long ago and gave up on himself. Well, although Tsunade's current appearance is not much different from giving up on himself. Every day I spend my days with alcohol, and when I teach Gong Yi, I will be a little restrained. With the help of other ninjas, some of the wounded were transferred to the camp. But at the scene, there were still many people who were inconvenient to move and could not be carried on stretchers. Gong Yi didn't even know how they survived the battle. Whoosh! A man in a green vest with a determined face jumped over to Gong Yi. "Gong Yi. Minato, are you hurt too? Look at how alive you are. I'll show you later. I'm too busy right now." Gong Yi's head. Don't lift his head, just listen to the voice and know it's Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato shook his head. "No, I have a proposal, let's see if it works." "Speak." "I left a kunai with a Hiraishin mark on the medical camp, and I can go directly there. You see, I will send you there first, and then send the other seriously injured ninjas one by one, what do you think?" Gong Yi couldn't help but look up at him. The sun shines on this man, and there is an inexplicable brilliance. Shouldn't he be cheered over there? He should be in a place where everyone is applauding. Gong Yi took a deep breath. If that's the case, then it's the best. At the camp, the tools are complete, so it is convenient for me to save people. But wait a minute, Hiraishin is a time-space ninjutsu, and when you use this technique, you will suffer a lot of pressure. These seriously wounded, can they withstand it? Namikaze Minato smiled confidently. "Don't worry about that, I'm treating Hiraishin Master very well now, and it won't aggravate their injuries." "Okay, how many people can you bring at a time?" "2. Then take me and this big fat, thin guy from the Akamichi clan first." Gong Yi used to think that the Akamichi family were all big fat people, but the guy in front of him was really skinny. It is estimated that this is related to the secret arts of the Akamichi clan, who usually eat wildly and save fat. During the battle, the energy stored in the body is released, and after the battle, the body tends to lose weight. The guy in front of him is too skinny, and he wants to fight fiercely. Whoosh! With a gust of wind, Namikaze Minato, Gong Yi, and the Akamichi clan disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the medical camp. "Gong Yi, the rest, I'll trouble you. You go. By the way, inform Eri and ask her to bring the other wounded back as soon as possible. The hygiene outside is not good and it is easy to get infected." Gong Yi's head said without raising his head. In his hand when he was healed, chakra kept surging, treating the big skinny man. Namikaze Minato is no nonsense. Hiraishin activates and disappears. When he appeared, he returned to the first line of defense. 2 people were picked up by both hands, and the support was not seen again. The boring action, he used dozens of times in a row. Later, Namikaze Minato, who was already after a war, couldn't take it anymore. Dripping sweat, he slowly walked back to the camp. All the Konoha ninjas who witnessed this, the tired Namikaze Minato, and the Gong Yi who bit Kiba and healed everyone in the camp, respected them from the bottom of their hearts. Nara Shikaku stood beside Orochimaru, smiling. If it wasn't for one ninja, maybe Minato, Gong Yi, would be able to get Konoha Sannin together again. Orochimaru twitched the corner of his mouth and shook his head. We are not like them. Nara Shikaku shrugged. It's really different, there are only two of them. Instead of imitating your name as Sannin, it's better to be called a double hero. Konoha Duo, nice title. Konoha Duo is interesting. Orochimaru chuckled. Chapter 94, Three Psychic Beasts 3rd. The words of Nara Shikaku and Orochimaru were heard by many Konoha ninjas. Then, with the news of the victory in the raid, it spread in the camp together. Konoha Duo. Yellow Flash traverses the battlefield, come and go freely. The dark blue demon has superb medical skills, life and death, flesh and bones, and saves countless companions. One can make companions rely on the battlefield, and the other can let companions not worry about how to treat them when they are injured. One inside, one outside, tisk tisk, it's really beautiful. It's someone's Deep Blue Devil against Gongyi. This title gave rise to doubts. At this time, Miura Akira, who was rescued twice by Gongyi, stood up. You don't know. When Lord Gongyi performed his mission, he not only saved us, but also killed two Jonin by himself. One of the Jonin, before dying, shouted out the title of demon out of fear. What? Why are you calling it dark blue? Well, to be honest, I don't know much about it. Clear that Lord Gongyi was green at the beginning, but it is estimated that it was passed on later. After listening to Miura Akira's explanation, the others no longer bothered about the title of Dark Blue Devil. Anyway, in their eyes, the enemy's demon is their angel. The stronger Gongyi and the better his medical skills, the more they like it. 5 days, 5 days. Seriously wounded ninja. However, because there are too many people who are seriously injured at the same time, he is a high-level ninja in the base camp, and there are times when he can't take care of it. Among them were 9 ninjas, who did not persist until Gongyi came to save them, and died silently. This is a fly in the ointment, and it makes me a little sad. But no one will blame Gongyi, because everyone can see that Gongyi really tried his best. Later, when he walked out of the medical camp, his steps were stumbling and his face was frighteningly pale. A few passing ninjas even helped him go back to rest. Night, Gongyi, who had rested long enough, woke up slowly. His body was not as fragile as others thought. Although the chakra consumption is excessive, there is the existence of rejuvenation, which is not a big problem. He just deliberately did not use rejuvenation, and showed that he did his best. Only in this way can he win the respect of all ninjas. Of course, he did his best. Otherwise, it is impossible to be so pale and frightening. Thinking of the hard work in the past few days, Gongyi couldn't help sighing. He recognized a reality. Tsunade was respected, perhaps not just because of her personal superb medical ninjutsu. It is also related to her psychic beast. Slug. As a psychic beast with the same name as Wan Snake and Toad Wentai, Slug is definitely stronger than Wan Snake and Wentai in a sense. That's it. In the 3 Holy Lands, behind Toad Bunta is a toad family. The snakes that Orochimaru summoned from Ryachi Cave are not just 10,000 snakes, but also other powerful snakes. But slugs are different. There is one slug in the entire Shikatsu forest. No matter what. It was Tsunade, or later, the slugs they summoned, all of them were a slug. It's just that because of the amount of chakra, the slugs that are summoned are different in size. The more chakra and the slug size, the latter psychic beast has the ability to split and can separate thousands of small slugs. The slug does not have strong fighting ability, but it has a medical ability that makes all ninjas in the ninja world unmatched. As long as the supply of chakra is enough, the slug can even split a large number of small slugs, and at the same time medically treat a ninja in a large ninja village. When Pain destroyed Konoha, Tsunade let slugs protect many ninjas. Physical attacks have no effect on slugs. She can also wrap ninjas for quick healing. Judging from the development of Hokage's plot, in the Fourth War, Wand Snake and Toad Wentai basically didn't show up much, and they couldn't keep up with their fighting ability of sword. But the slug can still play, and even save the ninja coalition, connecting Tsunade's body. I have to say, Tsunade can get the title of Sanin, there are enough reasons. Like this war, as long as Tsunade is around, the casualties of Konoha ninjas can definitely be reduced to an unimaginable level. Gangyi realized the gap between himself and Tsunade. He can save one person, 2 people, even hundreds of people. But he can't save thousands, tens of thousands of people like Tsunade. Maybe, I also need a psychic beast. Gangyi pondered, realizing his own inadequacies in this regard. But this matter, he can only wait to think about it later, he can't rush it now. What he needs to pay attention to now is that in the Shueiba system, the released Yuhi-colored task. Mission: survive the 3 wars. Mission description: survive the 3rd Ninja World War. Overall progress: 9 inches. Branch missions: completed the defeat of the Sunagaku arsenal behind enemy lines, completed the treatment of Nara Shikaku, completed the leader of the Konoha Medical Corps, completed the Konoha Ninja reputation status and not completed. Evaluation: the task is not over, no evaluation. Reward: it depends on the evaluation. The minimum reward is 10,000 points and a low-level scholar skill. Gangyi was a little surprised. The task of becoming the leader of the medical unit was completed. But he didn't understand the latter task. It stands to reason that most of the people in the camp should have a lot of respect for me. Can be seen from the eyes and attitudes other people look at me every time I walk in the camp. I think about. Gangyi pondered for a while and came to a conclusion. This mission, perhaps not just the ninjas on the battlefield, is very likely to cover the entire Konoha village's range of ninjas. Only in this way can we explain why he repeatedly brushed his favorability and failed to complete this task. To understand this, Gangyi just don't worry anymore. As long as this thing is a passive quest, as long as I survive the 3 battles and get the result of being respected by the village ninjas, it is not easy. Gangyi smiled and prepared to close the system interface. He blinked when noticing the overall progress of the mission. The last time was 71. And now it is 91. The reason for this is that Namikaze Minato led the raid and won the victory. The war is constantly being promoted, from the contact stage to the fierceness. Time: I haven't had the time to practice divine art in the past few days, hurry up and practice. When it's dawn, I'll find an opportunity to teach those medical ninjas in the camp. They learn more and become stronger, and they will be able to help me better in the future. Making a decision, Gangyi closed his eyes again and began to practice magic. This practice is 4 hours, the sky is already clear. Gangyi opened his eyes, stood up and stretched, and walked out of his tent refreshed. Outside his tent, Gangyi could feel that there was a ninja who had been waiting for 2 hours. Seeing Gangyi coming out, the ninja hurried up and said respectfully, "Master Gangyi, you are awake. Isn't this nonsense? Everyone is standing in front of you, can you not wake up?" Gangyi smiled kindly, he could hear the ninja's concern for him. From the fact that he stood outside, waited for 2 hours, and didn't come in to disturb him, he could see how high Gangyi's status was in his heart. Well, is something wrong? Lord Orochimaru, they are in a meeting and said if you wake up, they will let you go. How long has it been on? It's been an hour and a half. I came here half an hour earlier, but I can't bear to disturb you and want you to rest a little longer. Gangyi pretended to be stern and said, "Wake me up directly next time, how can I delay such an important meeting?" The ninja in front of him said in a panic, "This is also what Shikaku-sama told me secretly, saying that you are tired these days, try not to wake you up." "I don't blame you, I'll go first." Gangyi patted him on the shoulder and walked casually, the feeling of being able to sleep in without being disturbed, it's great. And behind him, the ninja looked at Gangyi adoringly. Master Gangyi is not only good at medicine, but also takes his work so seriously. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival everyone. The author Kun is out of town, and he also found 2 friends, ready to have a few drinks. The rest of the updates will be sent later. Chapter 95. The scale of the war is escalating wildly. In terms of his enthusiasm for attending the meeting today, Gong Yi's work attitude is really not serious. The time he arrived, the meeting was almost over. But seeing him coming, everyone stopped their steps to leave. Gong Yi is here, take a seat first. Nara Shikaku said with a smile, and again pointed to the position of his right hand below Orochimaru. And this time, when Gong Yi sat down, no one questioned. Just a few short days, Gong Yi, with his performance, conquered everyone present. Orochimaru coughed. Gong Yi, the meeting is almost over. Details, you can ask Shikaku later. Now tell me about the situation of the medical team in general. Gong Yi nodded and spoke methodically about the past few days. A total of 231 ninjas were brought back, of which 70 were lightly wounded and 56 were more seriously injured. The remaining 105 are all seriously wounded, the kind who may die. The medical team worked overtime and treated them day and night. Most of them are fine, only 9 ninjas, because of the serious injuries, and our lack of manpower, unfortunately passed away. When talking about the back, Gong Yi's expression was slightly heavy. Of other family leaders are worth pondering. Most of them showed relief. Gong Yi understands that this is probably the reason why they are willing to stay for a while. Among the more than 200 ninjas, there are many from the scene, from major families. Gong Yi, you did a great job. Orochimaru does not hesitate to praise, just like he will do to Sasuke in the future, he will always praise Sasuke's growth. Gong Yi continued, the medical force is barely enough at the moment, but if the scale of the war continues to expand, it may not be enough. Words came out, the other ninjas looked at each other in dismay. Such as Nara Shikaku, Namikaze Minato, etc. also frowned. Orochimaru was the same, his face was slightly gloomy. If only Tsunade was here. It's a pity that guy, suffering from hyperphobia, can't go to the battlefield at all. This sentence is a reflection of his heart and cannot be said. Gong Yi can't say either. Tsunade's hyperphobia is a secret in Konoha that only a few high-level people know about. Jiraiya, who has a crush on Tsunade, doesn't know. Orochimaru can know that it was only when he personally brought the broken body to Tsunade and found it. Perhaps a few other people in the know would be 3 generations of Hokage, plus Shimura Danzo and those 2 advisors at most. Gong Yi looked at the others, and he understood that the scale of the war would definitely continue to expand. Otherwise, these people would not have such expressions. But this is better, and it can further enhance your power on the battlefield. Lord Orochimaru, I have an idea to expand the number of medical units. You said, if you have a request, I will do my best to satisfy you. Gong Yi tentatively said, I want to train a group of medical ninjas and expand the number of medical troops when there is no large-scale war. Orochimaru frowned, and Nara Shikaku, who was beside him, asked in disbelief, is there enough time? Gong Yi pondered. The time must come to cultivate advanced medical ninjas. But if I only cultivate some ninjas who can quickly deal with simple wounds, the problem is no greater than the serious wounded, and I will do it myself. Hearing what Gong Yi said, Orochimaru and Nara Shikaku understood what Gong Yi meant. But the problem came again. Where did the ninjas come from? Let Gong Yi cultivate this question. Not only the 2 of them, but also the heads of other clans, also instantly thought of it. Where else can they come from? The talent of civilian ninjas is not good, and the medical ninjas have high requirements, so they can only be selected from the family ninjas. And this, in disguise, weakened the strength of the major families. Although only marginally weakened. For a time, everyone's faces were gloomy and uncertain. Gong Yi didn't speak, just watched them quietly. The meaning is here, if you want Lao Tzu to cure you and save your life, you have to show some sincerity. Cough. Nara Shikaku was the one who received the kindness of Gong Yi, and she spoke first at this time. Gong Yi, our Nara clan, are very good at chakra control, and there must be some seedlings of medical ninjas. I'll send a group of people to you. Someone speaks, it's fine. The most fearful thing is the cold field. Gong Yi smiled slightly, this is not very good, we must maintain the number of main ninjas fighting. Let me see it this way, I will choose a few genins myself, female ninjas are the best and more careful. Nara Shikaku's eyes lit up and she agreed immediately. Others, after hearing Gong Yi's proposal, no longer objected, and opened their mouths one after another, letting Gong Yi choose the manpower. The reason they don't disagree is simple. Gong Yi gave a very low request. A few genins, or female ninjas with weak combat effectiveness, will not affect their family's strength on the battlefield at all. Gong Yi all responded, and Orochimaru had no objection, and even mentioned that a new batch of reinforcements would be brought along with enough medical supplies. The meeting was soon dissolved. To end itself, but everyone stayed because they wanted to hear the situation on Gong Yi's side. It was dissolved, everyone left. Gong Yi and Shikaku were walking in the camp, and Shikaku also told Gong Yi about the general situation of the previous meeting. Although this raid was won beautifully, in fact, it was 1,000 against 2,000, and the losses were heavy. There were more than 200 wounded people brought back, but those who were not brought back have all become corpses. Gong Yi looked serious, and he also thought of this. How can there be no dead in war? We sent 1,000 people to kill more than 500 Sunagaku, forcing them to retreat 3 kilometers from the camp. But we killed 300 people, and the rest were wounded, more than 200 people. Nara Shikaku sighed, the victory was brilliant, but some people paid the price with their lives. Gong Yi curiously said, with Namikaze Minato leading the team, and the strong men of the Uchiha clan, the casualties are so great. Shikaku shook his head, there's a ninja over there at Sunagaku, you should know. Rasa, this person is extremely good at large-scale destructive ninjutsu, and immediately killed more than 20 Uchiha people as soon as they fought. Hiss, although I can think of Rasa's Kekkei Genkei, it can exert a terrifying effect on the battlefield. But when he heard it from Shikaku's mouth, Gong Yi was still shocked. He is also considered a master of advanced physical skills, and if he encounters a cage-level powerhouse alone, he has the certainty of survival. But it is still difficult to kill blockbuster ninjas as quickly and effectively as Rasa. Fortunately, Minato personally dragged Rasa in the back, and even nearly killed him, which prevented our casualties from expanding. And we are the raid, and the elites of the major families lead the team, and the subsequent battlefield trends will be controlled by us. Gong Yi nodded. Namikaze Minato's strength, he had no problem with it. One-on-one, Rasa is no match for Namikaze Minato. However, the scale of the war will escalate in the future, and the threat of Rasa will be too great. Shikaku sighed, a little worried. Gong Yi asked curiously, I just heard from Orochimaru that a new batch of reinforcements has already departed. How many people will come this time? Nara Shikaku stretched out a slap and raised 5 fingers. 5,000. This war is escalating wildly at an unimaginable speed. In the near future, a ninja war with tens of thousands of people is completely predictable. Philo reminds you. Read the 3 things to collect. Push the latest chapter. Baidu search 99 Playmates. Find 99 Novel Network. Chapter 96. Ambition Breeds. Name. Aburame Kaiwei. Gong Yi looked at the girl in front of him, and said lightly, I'll take a look at a ninjutsu, any ninjutsu, a clone will do. The girl lowered her head shyly, as if she didn't dare to look directly into Gong Yi's eyes. She hand-seal released a clone, and looked at Gong Yi nervously. Heard that after the young patriarch Aburame Jiwei came back today, he issued an order. The leader of the medical troop, Gong Yi, will temporarily expand the medical troop, and will select ninjas among the major clans of ninjas. And as long as careful female ninjas. After this order came down, Aburame Kaiwei took heart. 4. Genin, the battlefield is too dangerous, even for simple vigilance missions. Heard that even Hokage-sama's second son, Sarutobi Asuma, was seriously injured during the guard duty. Although everyone knows the danger, but no one can escape and must face it. But now there is a chance. 3220. Once selected into the medical force, you can stay in the safer rear. And the most important thing is that you can always accept the guidance of Lord Gongyi. Aburame Kaiwei looked at Gongyi nervously, for fear that he would say unqualified words. Gongyi took a look, looked at the girl with Yuhi's face, and smiled slightly. If you are qualified, pack your things today, and report to the medical camp tomorrow. Oh yeah. Shaking his head and smiling, Gongyi beckoned, and Hilly walked over with a roster. Take her name, and ask her age by the way, and how long she's been a genin. Eri nodded. She was getting more and more used to obeying Gongyi's orders. Gongyi looked up and saw that the Aburame clan had already recruited people. A total of 555 female ninjas were summoned, all of them were genin. Compared to the Inuzuka and Nara clans, the number of people is slightly smaller, but this is normal. The Aburame family likes to play with bugs. Most girls don't like bugs, they prefer deer, dogs, cats, these cute guys. 555, almost enough, let's go to the next family camp. Who is the next? Gongyi thought about it and moved. Go and see the Yamanaka clan. The Yamanaka family is the family with the most female ninjas in Konoha. The family's source of income is flower planting, flower sales, and flower shops opened in various countries. Female ninjas are simply too numerous to count. Hopefully a nice catch. While Gongyi was busy recruiting and expanding the medical team, the situation at the Sunagakur village base camp was not very good. Other words, the atmosphere is not very good. Chiyo slammed the letter in his hand to the ground with a look of anger. In front of her was Ebizo, who had just driven back from Iwagakure village, and Ebizo was also smiling bitterly at this moment. Sister, that guy Onoki really doesn't give us any face. Chiyo slapped the table with an angry slap. If you don't give us face, he won't see rabbits or spread eagles. This old guy, what a joke about being afraid of Konoha village. Now in the various Dainin villages, his Iwagakure village is the most unscrupulous ninja to deal with Konoha. It has been more than 10 years since World War II to the present. The village of Iwagakure has gained the complete trust of the daimyo of the land of the earth, and various financial resources have been given to them. Now the strength is strong. I am afraid that it is not inferior to Konoha. He said that he is afraid that this is fooling us. Chiyo stood up and circled the room angrily. Ebizo picked up Tsuchikajinoki's reply from the ground and patted the dust. But Onoki also gave a signal. Achieve certain results on the frontal battlefield, he doesn't mind sending troops and attacking the village of Konoha. Chiyo's anger subsided slightly, but he wasn't blinded by the news. In order to achieve results in the frontal battlefield, it means at least one victory, and only in this way, the village of Iwagakure dares to send troops. But looking at the major ninja villages, who can be sure to get a good deal from Konoha? Chiyo bites Kiba. Ebizo, you go back to the village and transfer 5,000 ninjas here. Hi. Ebizo took a deep breath. So much, is it necessary now that the war has just begun? Chiyo sneered. I am afraid that the Konoha family will have a great career, and they don't take 5,000 ninjas seriously, so they just send them out casually. Ebizo suddenly wakes up, and for them Sunagakur, 5,000 ninjas can be said to be traumatic. But Konoha is different. They are strong and deep, let alone 5,000. It is also very possible to ask Konoha to come up with 10,000 ninjas. I understand, I will do it right away. In addition, you have 3,000 ninjas as a reserve force, and the battle ahead is unfavorable, so let them come directly. Sister, are you desperate? Chiyo said angrily. How can we do this war if we don't go all out? We can't afford to lose. Since Onoki wants to see the results, I will give him an answer, if he doesn't send troops later. Then I will leave it behind. Konoha, turn your hands and attack the village of Iwagakure. Looking at Chiyo with a ferocious face, Ebizo trembled in his heart. He knew very well that his sister's son and daughter-in-law were killed by Hatake Sakumo of Konoha. Has an unforgettable hatred for Konoha. Ebizo is a little scared just thinking about such a huge number of ninjas. There are already 2,000 ninjas on the front line, and another 5,000 reinforcements will be dispatched, and even 3,000 ninjas will be prepared. This is the real thing, to hollow out the old bottom of Sunagakure village. There was a hearty laugh at the door. Rasa opened the curtain and walked in. Two consultants, the discussion is so intense, I can hear it outside. Chiyo glanced at Rasa, but he was extremely vigilant in his heart. This man's strength has improved too fast. She had already set up the Otogakure technique to prevent the sound of the house from going out, it could be heard by Rasa. Chiyo asked coldly, your injury is fine. At the mention of this, Rasa's smile stopped abruptly. Thanks to consultant Chiyo's treatment, there is no serious problem. And my injury is all thanks to Yellow Flash, and I will definitely get it back in the final battle. Chiyo sneered, you'd better not be selfish, I don't know if Namikaze Minato can kill you. But if you want to kill him, it is absolutely impossible. Rasa's face froze, and he couldn't refute it. Man who gave him a spiral shape of ninjutsu on his chest, the talent of time and space ninjutsu is too powerful. He really doesn't have much confidence that he can kill Namikaze Minato. Chiyo waved his hand, count 1. 6, I don't want to tell you so much. As long as you remember, I saved you and promised to support you, but you must do what you promised me. Rasa grinned, half-smile. The disappearance of that kid Sasori seems to have something to do with the 3 generations of Kazekage. But he really doesn't have the heart to deal with Chiyo's grandson. If Sasori really killed 3 generations of Kazekage, Rasa might have to thank him sincerely. If it wasn't for him, how could I be so close to Kazekage? Ambition will always numb people's emotions, but at the same time, it will also give people the power to become infinitely stronger. For example, Gong Yi at this moment, looking at the 200 medical ninjas in front of him, a desire for power gradually came to mind. This will be the first step I take to conquer Konoha and dominate the ninja world. Chapter 97. Cultivate your own forces. The medical team sent by the Konoha hospital was actually less than 100 of 100 people. Even if Gong Yi had previously controlled the medical force, he had little weight at the meeting. But it's different now. Gong Yi spent some time a few days ago, and selected 70 female genins one after another from the major families. Then, on the side of the civilian ninja, more than 30 people were carefully selected. In this way, there are 200 medical troops. This is not a small number. About 200 medical ninjas, the number of wounded that can be healed can reach thousands. In a medium-scale war, the number of wounded is mostly less than 1,000. That is to say, as long as a war of this scale does not break out, at any other time, every clan must pay attention to Gong Yi. Gong Yi coughed lightly, attracting everyone's attention. I know that I am relatively young, and some people present will doubt my ability. Everyone shook their heads. A group of female ninjas, the younger ones worshipped Gong Yi, the older ones also trusted him very much, and even 29 and some were full of maternal brilliance, and regarded Gong Yi as their son and younger brother. But I don't care what you think. What I'm going to do in the future is very simple. That is to teach you what I learned from Mr. Tsunade as much as possible. When you learn it, you can save your companions, your family, your brothers and parents, and even your lover. You are not following my orders, you are working for yourselves. The words were so passionate that a group of female ninjas couldn't help clenching their fists, planning to study very seriously in the future. Gong Yi was very satisfied with everyone's reaction, and his morale was boosted by himself. However, it would be unrealistic to give them everything Tsunade taught them. Not everyone is Gongyi, everyone has a future like Sakura. Talent. Gongyi is very self-aware, so his next job is to establish a system, how to train these female ninjas into instant combat power. It can immediately play the effect of medical ninja. Painting pair clothes. In. Sakurai Ariyi stood up excitedly. It has been a long time since I saw Konoha's medical ninja lineage. Regarding Gongyi's next order, she secretly swore that she would do her best to complete it. You give each experienced medical ninja 1 or 2 lieutenants based on the roster. Then let them teach their deputies to learn the simplest wound dressing, trauma management, and medicine use. Sakurai Ariyi nodded quickly, yes. Gongyi smiled, this is the first step in quickly training medical ninjas. Is not compulsory to train these female ninjas into a class, the kind of Shizune. Excellent level, but they must be allowed to play a role in the next war. And next, what he wants to say is 2 steps. Every 7 days, I teach some of the simplest medical ninjutsu in the camp. All newcomers should come and listen. I will give you 3 months to master simple medical ninjutsu. Okay, that's all I have to say. Everyone. Let's work together. Gongyi watched everyone busy teaching, studying and working, and the corners of his eyes couldn't help showing a smile. He mentioned just now were the original plan. This group of ninjas grow up, he will have enough confidence to face any family. And in his heart, he has other plans. Tsunade made the wrong decision by shelving Konoha's plans to establish a medical ninja system. Although I don't blame her, I can't continue to shelve this plan. From now on, I will silently resume the plan to establish the Konoha medical ninja system. And the medical ninja lineage, once strong, is not weak at all compared to the roots of Hokage Anbu and Danzo. The most important thing is that medical ninjas can see the light and live in the sun, which will have a very good effect on the improvement of my personal reputation. Gongyi can see clearly why Danzo's status of the 5th generation of Hokage is not right, and he is not even recognized by Konoha. He also made great contributions to Konoha, and even his contributions are no less than the later Tsunade and Kakashi. Reason is that there is no light at the root. What Danzo did, there was no light, he did not gain the respect of all the villagers in Konoha. This matter, the most thorough, should be the old man of the 3rd generation Hokage. 3 generations of Hokage gave Danzo the power, but did not let him show up. Under this kind of temptation, Danzo could only bite Kiba and do things. Remember that Kakashi also joined Anbu later, but 3 generations of Hokage let him out again. Just because the 3 generations can understand that if Kakashi wants to gain public opinion, he must live in the sun. In the days to come, Gongyi will stay at the base camp and stay at home. The things you do every day are complex yet simple. Manage 200 people of 200 people, always check the learning progress of the newbies, and occasionally give some tips. Gongyi has a lot of experience in trauma management and wound dressing. His joint skills are already very perfect, not to hurt people, but to save people. It is also very effective. After 5 or 6 days, he will open a class to teach others to learn simple medical ninjutsu, such as healing, hemostasis, detoxification, etc. Not high-end, but it will be very effective when dealing with emergencies. As for Sage Art and Chakra Scalpel, it is too difficult and few people can learn it. Gongyi just taught it to Sakurai Ariyi. In addition, Gongyi personally brought 2 apprentices, Aburame Kaiwei and Shizune. Aburame Kaiwei Master produced a 320 worm that can devour chakra, called Gram. But if it is used to heal and devour the remaining enemy chakra in the ninja's body, it is very effective. She has a strong medical talent and is worthy of cultivation. Also, Shizune. Yes, that is the woman who always follows Tsunade in the original Hokage storyline. The current Shizune is just a girl who has not been out of school for a long time, at the level of genin. But her medical talent has already been revealed. If Gong Yi personally cultivated her, her future achievements should not be under the original work. In the original book, Shizune took over Tsunade's class and served as the captain of the ninja coalition and the medical unit. Gong Yi is very satisfied with the 2 apprentices he has accepted, but he occasionally thinks of another apprentice he taught. Nohara Rin. Originally, Gong Yi also wanted to go to Namikaze Minato and ask Nohara Rin to come over. Pity that Namikaze Minato led the team and went out on a secret mission, and he didn't have a chance to speak. While Gong Yi was training a new group of medical troops, Konoha's army of 5,000 ninjas also arrived one after another. The entire base camp has been continuously expanded, and now it has fully accommodated 7,000 people. The arrival of the 5,000 ninja army not only brought enough medical consumables to Gong Yi, but also brought a signal to Gong Yi. Decisive battle. It will be triggered at the touch of a button. Phailu reminds you. Book 3 things to read, and push the latest chapter. Baidu search 99 playmates to find 99 novels. Chapter 98. Before the decisive battle. Gong Yi's guess is not without reason. First of all, 5,000 reinforcements, plus the Konoha front line itself has 1 or 2,000 men, and the strength is enough for a battle. Secondly, with so many people gathered together, it is a terrifying figure for the consumption of logistical resources. Even if ninjas can eat bingbing pills to replenish their physical strength, bingbing pills are fucking expensive. Finally, Gong Yi looked at the map in his hand. On it, the Land of Fire is located in the middle of the mainland. It occupies the most fertile. The land has good traffic roads to all countries, and the prosperity of commerce is eye-catching. Yuhi. Don't look at the fact that it's just Sunagakure village and Konoha fighting each other, but secretly, I don't know how many shinobi villages, big and small, are also staring at Konoha's fat meat. Once Konoha is defeated, the country of fire will be divided by the wolves. Therefore, Konoha must not delay this battle. It is necessary to instantly destroy Sunagakure village with the power of thunder, and use force to stun other villages. Sure enough, after the arrival of the 5,000 ninja army, Orochimaru issued a series of orders. First line of defense forward, step into the river country Tianchuanyuan, and advance to Sunagakure step by step. Form an elite team, spy on the information of the Sunagakure unit, obtain the number of enemy ninjas, and the arrangement of the defense line. Even an additional assassination team was formed to remove the various Sunagakure secret posts scattered all over the border of the Fire Nation and Amagawa Plain. Gong Yi doesn't know what's going on Sunagakure's side, but Chiyo, Rasa, the leader of the other party who wants to come, isn't stupid either, and won't be indifferent to Konoha's actions. They should be doing something similar. At the beginning of the 44th year of Konoha, just after the new year, there was still a heavy snow in the sky. It has been 5 months since the battle with Sunagakure. In the past 5 months, the friction between the front lines of the two sides has never stopped. Squad battles, team battles with 100 people, and even small-scale wars with more than 1,000 people, all continue to break out. Secretly, those assassinations, infiltrating to obtain information, are happening every day. But all of this will probably be over in the next few days. Gong Yi looked back at the camp in the heavy snow, and walked towards the command camp. Sakurai Ariyi trotted after him and put a snow-white coat on him. Don't catch a cold, Lord Gong Yi. Gong Yi smiled and patted Wei Li's hand. It's okay. Touched the hand that Gong Yi had just touched, and her heart trembled, but then she sighed again. The new year is over, and we don't know when we can go back to reunite with our families. Gong Yi's eyes were calm, and he stepped firmly in the deep snow. Don't worry, it will be soon. Entering the command camp, there are not a few people yet, only Orochimaru, Shikaku, Namikaze Minato are there. Gong Yi nodded to them and took a familiar seat. After that, the curtains of the camp were continuously pulled open, and the heads of various families came in one after another. When they saw Gong Yi, they all nodded. The past few months, Gongyi's medical department has gradually grown after the expansion. Effective when the two sides of the war were trying to find friction. 4. This young man, now, it seems that everyone has already arrived. Orochimaru coughed, not knowing whether it was because of his poor health or on purpose. Looking around the crowd, Orochimaru said directly, "You can also feel the atmosphere inside. Too late to end the war and let our men go back to their families, even if we can gain the upper hand on the battlefield. But if it goes on like this, there will be problems. So, the decisive battle must be carried out. The time is set in 3 days." No one objected, and everyone looked forward to what Orochimaru said next. "Gongyi, how is the medical force? Anytime you can fight." Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction. "In this battle, the medical troops can no longer stay at the base camp, they have to go to the battlefield with us to treat the wounded at any time. Of course, I won't put you in the most dangerous place." Hyuga Hazashi. "Yes, Orochimaru-sama." Orochimaru said indifferently, "The medical team is the key to our continuous battle on the battlefield. This time, your Hyuga family is responsible for personal protection. The Hyuga clan is good at physical arts, and it is better to use it to protect the medical troops." Hyuga Hazashi didn't hesitate, this was a slightly safer mission, and he agreed directly. Akamichi Choza, Inuzuka Claw. A sturdy man, and a woman with yui color on his face, stood up. In. Orochimaru said lightly, "In this battle, you will be the main force to attack the Sunagaku army head-on, and it will surely pierce their formation." Akamichi Choza nodded excitedly, the mission must be completed. Inuzuka Claw was a little worried, the frontal attack, the casualty level is too high. But she couldn't refuse and went to the battlefield. Even a family ninja had to obey the commander. Inuzuka Claws represent the Inuzuka clan, take orders. Seeing that the two of them didn't object, Orochimaru and Shikaku looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. Among the major families of Konoha, there are many who can act as frontal attack troops. The strongest are definitely the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. The former has a powerful Kaiden, fire-style ninjutsu covering an area, and the latter is famous for its huge amount of chakra and unparalleled power of ninjutsu. Pity that the Senju clan, now only Tsunade is left, is already dead in name only. The Uchiha family lost more than half of the people they brought in because of the previous wars. Speaking of this, I have to say that the demise of the Uchiha family really deserved it. Too arrogant, too arrogant. Battlefield, they don't know how to cooperate with other troops. Unless their entire family is dispatched, the large-scale battlefield will be finished sooner or later. Of course, if there is a big killer like Mangekyo Sharingan that can change the pattern of war, that's another story. But now, the Uchiha clan, there is no clan that opened Mangekyo. Aside from these two big families, in fact, the Sarutobi family is also very suitable for frontal combat. However, considering that the current leader of the Sarutobi clan is Sarutobi Aster, the eldest son of the 3 generations of Hokage, Orochimaru is not easy to arrange for him. Aside from that, there are none. Orochimaru's quests are still being handed out. The Aburame family, cooperate with the Inuzuka troops on the side. Also, always pay attention to the enemy puppet troops. Once they appear, use the family bug secretary to destroy them. The Yamanaka and Nara clans cooperate with the Akamichi troops on the side, and select a group of other people to form a battlefield command team to coordinate the overall situation. Where is the danger now? Sarutobi clan, you lead the troops as reserve troops. Once there is a problem in any battlefield, follow the orders of the battlefield commanding troops and go there for support. The orders were issued like snowflakes, and no one dared to resist. Orochimaru itself is Sanin. Legendary, powerful and powerful. He rose again during World War II and has rich battlefield experience. Now, after 5 months, his experience in commanding troops has become more and more proficient. And behind him, there are 3 generations of Hokage's support. No one will oppose him. Except that family, Uchiha. Seeing that after talking for a long time, there is no task for the Uchiha family, Uchiha Chinfeng can't sit still. He stood up abruptly and stared at Orochimaru. After several small-scale wars, the current Uchiha Chinfeng has a face full of suffocation, and there is a huge scar on his face, from the corner of his eye to his chin. He asked irritably, Orochimaru, you ignored us Uchiha. Orochimaru's side face, eyes like snakes, narrowed slightly. Chapter 99. Uchiha, take 2 steps together. Gongyi watched this scene with interest. The current Orochimaru is probably at the end of the research and development of the immortality technique, and his cough just now is probably related to his body experiment. After the successful development of the undead rebirth technique, Orochimaru will need to find a suitable container. However, Orochimaru at this time was not so obsessed with Uchiha's body as he was later. The reason is simple. That he hasn't seen the power of Mangekyo. It's just like that, seeing Uchiha Chikaz who dared to question himself, Orochimaru smiled. The snake-like smile is chilling. Uchiha Chinfeng will not be frightened by Orochimaru. The honor of Uchiha engraved in his bones makes him disdain all ninjas. If it's normal, maybe Orochimaru will teach Uchiha Chikaz a lesson. But this is a military camp. Once a fight begins, it will easily affect other ninjas. Orochimaru took a different approach. You Uchiha clan, since you joined the war, how many have you sent? Ninjas. Uchiha Chinfeng said firmly. One after another, a total of 400 people were dispatched to 400 people. Only 400 people 400 inches. HMPH, although the number is small, all of my Uchiha's sons are 1 of 10. Orochimaru pursed his lips. Then how much is left now? Uchiha Chinfeng's face instantly changed. It was extremely ugly. He couldn't answer this question. Let me tell you 320. There are only 70 ninjas alive on the Uchiha battlefield. Not even the number of medical ninjas. Not even a small army. Might as well think about it, after returning to the village, how to face the anger of your Uchiha clan. The meeting is over. 3 days later, in the early morning, leave on time, and those who are late will be killed. Orochimaru waved his sleeves and walked away. Everyone left in an orderly manner, and when they passed by Uchiha Chinfeng, they could feel this man, the suppressed anger, and the slightly trembling body. Gongyi and Minato walked behind, and the 2 chatted about the decisive battle 3 days later. Minato's mission, Orochimaru didn't say, was probably the most dangerous one. Other words, since the start of the war, except for the attack on Monziman, Namikaze Minato has taken the lead and participated in other dangerous missions. Passing by Uchiha Chinfeng, Gongyi suddenly stopped. Minato, you go first. Namikaze Minato looked at Gongyi, then at Uchiha Chinfeng, frowning slightly. But he didn't want to inquire about anything, wished Gongyi-san good luck and left. 2 steps together. Gongyi smiled at the suggestion, and seemed not to care about Uchiha Chinfeng's uncontrollable anger. Uchiha Chinfeng glared at Gongyi. You guys have been wanting to see my jokes. Enough is enough for today. The feud between the 2, in fact, in the camp, it has long been spread. It has to start with their first mission together. At that time, Uchiha Chinfeng ignored his companions and fled directly, which aroused the dissatisfaction of Shikaku, other family ninjas, and civilian ninjas. Orochimaru also told everyone about the situation of that mission, so many people know the inside story. Yes, Uchiha Chikaz completed the mission, but escaped alone. The heavy Hyuga name with him when he escaped, maybe Hyuga would not have died. Even if it is dead, the body can be taken back and given to the Hyuga family. But he didn't. In contrast, Gongyi carried Nara Shikaku on his back and risked his life to chase it back, winning everyone's respect. Facing Uchiha Chifeng's anger, Gongyi shrugged. I'm sorry, I haven't seen enough. Bastard, are you courting death? Gong Yi smiled and said, no, I actually want to see how you will face the anger of the Uchiha clan after you return to the village. Tisk tisk, you brought out 400 Uchiha clan members, and now there are only 70 left. Many wounded soldiers. I think about it, after you go back, what punishment will there be? The deprivation of the position of elder is for sure. The position of the Konoha Police Department should not be left. I think about it again, those dead ninjas' brothers, fathers, friends, how will they trouble you? Wow, how do I think you will be kicked out of the Uchiha family? The more he talked about it, Gong Yi became more and more exaggerated, and even danced quickly. Sharingan, open. Yuhi Sesentomo, demonic pupils appeared in an instant, and the evil breath made people chill. Gong Yi sneered, showing off his snow-white robes. The 8 inner gates, open. Hiu, health, injury, Du, Jing, instantly opened 5 gates, with a powerful aura, completely unafraid of Uchiha Chinfeng. Shut up your imperfect eyes. If you don't want to die. Uchiha Chinfeng was furious. What, you say my Sharingan, imperfect bastard, it's not your turn to despise me Uchiha. Gong Yi does his part and goes against him. Tit for tat. He sneered again and again, if your eyes were perfect, then the more than 300 Uchiha people before would not have died. Let me say, all of you, Uchiha, don't have a perfect pair of Sharingan. If not, why does Uchiha's reputation continue to decline, and now even the Hyuga clan can compete with you? Uchiha Chinfeng was trembling all over, staring at Gong Yi, spitting out a few words. Bastard, kid, damn it. However, he didn't dare to do it. The mighty power on Gong Yi's body showed that he was not afraid of himself. He has also fought alongside Gong Yi, and he knows that this kid is by no means as weak as he looks on the surface. And this is still in the camp, if you really want to do it. Orochimaru will definitely be the first to suppress him. Suddenly, Gong Yi put away the 8 inner gates and asked abruptly, don't you want to know what a perfect Sharingan is? Uchiha Chikaz was stunned. If you want to know, walk 2 steps with me and have a chat. Speaking, Gong Yi opened the door curtain and slowly walked towards the outside of the camp against the wind and snow outside. Uchiha Chinfeng is in shock. The Sharingan of the 3 Tomo is still not perfect. Does this little guy know that it is impossible? But I, Uchiha, clearly suppressed the Sengoku of the ninja world, and is on a par with the Senju clan. This little bastard really knows something. He is Tsunade's disciple after all. Tsunade is the only descendant of the Senju clan. The Senju clan has fought and cooperated with Uchiha. Maybe he really knows something. Just in this complicated mood, Uchiha Chinfeng, following Gong Yi's footprints, followed. Feeling the disappearance of those 2 powerful chakras, Hyuga Hazashi closed by Ikugen. It was almost a fight. Gong Yi and the Uchiha clan were at odds. This can be used, and if there is a chance in the future, pull it towards our Hyuga clan. Yamanaka Inoichi withdrew his senses and shook his head at Shikaku and Akamichi Choza. It's alright, no fight. But it's not clear how they could conflict. Akamichi Choza said carelessly, perhaps he helped Shikaku out of that mission. If it were me, I would have beaten that arrogant guy Uchiha Chinfeng long ago. Nara Shikaku felt inappropriate. Although Gong Yi is young, he is very calm. It's all over and he doesn't make sense to have a conflict with Uchiha at such a critical moment. Akamichi chose the 2 big hands, hugging Shikaku and Inoichi. Why do you think so much? There will be a decisive battle in 3 days. Go to my place, there is delicious food. Orochimaru returned to his heavily guarded abode, not at all interested in the chakra fluctuations that erupted when Gong Yi and Uchiha Chinfeng confronted each other. He hand-sealed with both hands, and a seal on the ground was opened. Then he stepped into the cave, and underneath, there was a huge laboratory. And inside, it was filled with dozens of Sunagakur ninjas, all of them alive. He watched all this obsessively, and his body even trembled. I'm about to succeed. My dream of immortality is about to succeed. Just give me another 100, no, 500 subjects, and I'll be able to reduce the success target to the most accurate. Until then, I'll be successful. Once I succeed, I will have countless energy, endless years, to study all kinds of ninjutsu. It's such a wonderful feeling. Ha ha ha, I can't wait. Chapter 100. Looking for Sasori of the Red Sand. 4th. Crunch, crunch. Feet stepped on the snow, and the dead branches under the snow were constantly crushed, making a dull sound. Uchiha Chinfeng had a livid face and followed behind Gong Yi. Without asking where Gong Yi was taking him, he just followed. Just that after walking for a while, his face changed, and his surprise continued to emerge. On the snow, Gong Yi's footprints gradually faded away. After that, there was no trace of it. Under the state of deliberately controlling the chakra, the general ninja can indeed walk on the water without waves, as if walking on the ground. But the snow is different. As long as you step on it, you will definitely have footprints. The current situation is so strange. Gong Yi seems to be drifting over from the snow. Uchiha Chinfeng opened the Sharingan in disbelief, stared at it seriously, but was shocked to find that Gong Yi had indeed stepped on the snow, but he did not leave any traces. This child's chakra control ability is really terrifying. When he was on the mission 5 months ago, although he was strong, he wasn't like that. Hey, this guy's progress is too fast. Uchiha Chinfeng put away his contempt and followed carefully. Although he began to value Gong Yi, he was not afraid. The power of Sharingan is not just to enhance ninjutsu, it is as simple as seeing through the enemy's attack. Demonic illusion is even more powerful. Most experienced ninjas who have lived for decades can't resist demonic illusion. No, Gong Yi, after a mere 10 years old, it is absolutely impossible for him to resist Uchiha's demonic illusion. Gong Yi, who was walking in front, stopped suddenly, did not look back, and just stood in front of the cliff at the top of the mountain. Uchiha Chinfeng followed cautiously, standing in front of the cliff with him. If you have something to say, just say it. Gong Yi smiled slightly. Uchiha Chinfeng, the third elder of the Uchiha clan, has a high position and authority. What are you talking about? Let's get straight to the point. Your current situation is the same as the ice edge under my feet. Gong Yi pointed to the crystal ice edge under his feet. It's hard and dazzling, but... A gust of wind blew past, and the ice ridges were shattering, as if they were about to fall into the abyss and shattered into pieces. Uchiha Chinfeng was silent, speechless. This kind of thing has been said more than once or twice, and not only Orochimaru sees it clearly, but everyone else knows it too. I have something I want you to cooperate with me. If successful. Gong Yi put his 2 fingers together in the food, the chakra surged in an instant, and under the ice edge, a rock appeared, which firmly supported the ice edge. The wind blows again, and the ice edges are as steady as a mountain, as steady as a rock. Hey, this guy is indeed from the Uchiha clan. Others may think that Gong Yi is Muji ninjutsu, but in fact, it really hasn't reached that point. It's just a one-handed hand seal. But this is enough. From the horrified expression on Uchiha Chinfeng's face, it can be seen that this move has shocked him. Gong Yi pursed his lips. The place you are paying attention to should not be me, but the ice edge. Here, look. Uchiha Chinfeng calmed down, looked carefully, and then stared blankly at the ice edge. With the bumps accumulated by the rocks, the ice edges are no longer afraid of the cold wind, and even on the top, the volume becomes larger and larger. Don't worry anymore, falling off a cliff. Come on, I'm getting more and more curious about what you said. Gong Yi overlooked the blurry landscape under the cliff, and said softly, You Uchiha are useless in this war, the number of people is too small, and there are few strong people, so you can't gain merit. Shimaru will not assign you important tasks, at most the task of protecting the retreat route in the rear, or guarding the base camp. Uchiha Chinfeng did not refute, he knew this would be the result. In this case, you will be free. So, I want you to go out and help me find someone. Who? Sasori of the Red Sand. I don't know. Haha, it's normal if you don't know each other. The Uchiha family doesn't need to put other people in their eyes. Even if Sasori of the Red Sand is known as a genius puppet stylist, even if he is a Sunagaku consultant, Chiyo's grandson. No need to be sarcastic, according to what you said, that Sasori of the Red Sand should be very young. I haven't heard of it. It's normal. Find him. But don't panic, he will find him. This should be very easy for Uchiha Ninja. No, it's not easy. In the vast continent, dozens of large and small countries, where can I find it? Quote. I have a clue, you go to the country of craftsmen and the country of tools to find it. These two countries are both small countries, and their scope is not large. With your elder Uchiha's strength, I believe you can find them soon. Uchiha Chinfeng asked, why do you think he should be there? Gong Yi naturally wouldn't say. Sasori of the Red Sand got the corpse of the 3 generations of Casecage, and will find a place to refine human puppets. And refining puppets, you must have all kinds of precious materials. The source of the material, after lacking the supply from the country of Hefeng in Sunagaku village, he can only go to the place where the material is rich, and buy and refine it at the same time. He just smiled lightly. Have you forgotten that he is called a genius puppet stylist? The country of craftsmen and the country of tools, rich in puppet materials, he will definitely go there. After listening to Gong Yi's explanation, Uchiha Chinfeng also nodded in agreement. But he wondered again, why don't you go? Oh, that's a stupid question. Gong Yi glanced at him, do you think I can walk away? Uchiha Chinfeng just wanted to give himself a slap. This conversation has been led by Gong Yi's nose. He has forgotten that the decisive battle is about to take place. As the leader of the medical force, Gong Yi will definitely not be able to walk away. He threw another, no, three questions. Why are you looking for a little guy in Sasori of the Red Sand? What's the use of finding it, or I'll just knock it out and bring it back to you. The reason for looking for him, I can't tell you. As for the usefulness, you will understand later. Gong Yi stopped abruptly and looked at Uchiha Chinfeng with a half-smile. You better listen to me and don't startle the snake. That little guy is not as simple as you think. ... Uchiha Chinfeng also ignored the sarcasm in Gong Yi's words. He had found out that this kid had no reverence for Uchiha, and was mocking himself from time to time. He pays more attention to the other 2 points. Finding him will let me go back without being punished. No problem at all. What is the perfect Sharingan you say? Gong Yi smiled lightly and said casually, do you know Mangekyo Sharingan? What is that? ... Uchiha Chinfeng left, and when he learned that there was Mangekyo on top of the 3-tomo Sharingan, his whole person became muddle-headed. He didn't have time to ask Gong Yi how to open his eyes. Or, in the bottom of his heart, he doesn't believe that Gong Yi Master has a way to open his eyes. This matter, he will find the patriarch or chief elder who keeps the history of the Uchiha family in the Wei clan, and ask him to clarify. Of course, for Gong Yi's cooperation, he readily accepts. Mangekyo Sharingan is one thing, whether he can return from the battlefield without being punished by his family is another. Compared with the future, he values how to protect himself more. Gong Yi stood on the edge of the cliff, his eyes fell on the ice edge before Uchiha. Powerful glory. It's actually very fragile. Even if there is a solid foundation, how long can a piece of ice survive once the sun is exposed? The ice and snow melt, and a mere ridge of ice can survive. Humph. Gong Yi turned around and walked away. Behind him, without his chakra support, the rock melted in an instant. And that ice edge did not even wait for the sun. A gust of wind blew, and it fell into the abyss with a thud.